And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. This week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos was on the NBA trade that rocked the world. We went deep. Both myself and Xbox, my good friend from Australia who covers our awesome world of the modding scene here at Lakers Fast Break. We talked about Luka, the trade, how it affects the Lakers and the NBA. Go ahead and catch it today on the Pop Culture Cosmos, wherever you get your podcasts. Inside Sports Fantasy Football, I have reached out to Chris Sardieri. I am hoping, Joe, tomorrow night, you, me, Mr. Shano, if you want to bring your nephew in, whoever, we can actually devote an hour to the Super Bowl and talk about that as far as predictions. Whether or not we make it live for everybody, we'll go ahead and decide, or just make it members only or whatnot. So we'll decide all the particulars on that. But yeah, definitely want to go ahead and do another Inside Sports Fantasy Football, our season ender, as we always talk about with the Super Bowl. So definitely check it out. Oh, Robert Wheeler's back. We missed you, my friend. Funny, you leave us for a few days, the world gets turned upside down as far as the NBA is concerned. We were just talking about you on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. We're like, have you seen Robert? I didn't see him at the Knicks games. I didn't see him this past weekend.
Well, I think Robert predicted 5-1, right? Didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So
yeah, he did. Good
hold on.
You didn't predict Luka. Yes.
The clap number 2 is the longer one, so I wanted to use that one for sure.
No worries. But you didn't predict Luka, though, Robert. But we'll give you the 5-1.
I don't think God predicted Luka.
Exactly. But yeah, great to have you here. Also, as well, don't forget Joe Soros alongside with me. He has got a great game now available on Steam. It's Corrupt, COREUPT. If you type that in Steam, it automatically comes up. I have tried it. It does come up. Go ahead, get the game. Absolutely fantastic indie fighting game, Corrupt, right there for you. Plus, he owns his company, SimBlades with all the stuff that's been going on around the weather and all that stuff that's going on in the Southern California area. You need a new lawn, and you can get it transformed today by going ahead and hitting up SimBlades with Our good friends, the Lakerholics, I'm actually going to reach out to them and thank them because their Sunday show, not the Saturday show, but the Sunday show they did was the highest ever volume-wise for them. And I haven't had a chance to thank them for it because they came on, they wanted to do it. So go ahead and support them today by Lakerholics.com. Go in that site, saying hello, listen to what Laker Tom and Jamie Sweeta and all the rest of the guys, Michael Heinrich, all those great guys, what they're doing at Lakerholics.com. Richard, thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Want to go ahead and give a shout out we got to come up with some more crazy.
No, that's the best one.
Okay. All right.
Yay!
A subscriber.
I can't do that voice, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, well, I did. I don't know how I did at that point in time. Maybe I was like holding on to my nuts or something to hit that high note. But again, I want to go ahead and thank you so much.
You learned from the best, Sean Grice.
There you go. Speaking of the Magic Man, I hope he's doing okay. The Madman from Toronto, but also as well, of course, our good friend Empire Jeff. He covered the Luka trade as well, so you want to stop by his channel. I got to reach out to Search as well. I got lots of checking in and thanking people. I know you don't like it when I do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So go ahead and check out Empire Jeff TV, wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, our good friends also as well, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Just a great time to be a Lakers fan. Go ahead and check out DBSH. He's got some highlights waiting for you there as well. But of course, the thing I want you to do most for us is, if you can, please like the video. We had 130 people at one time on our nightcap. Guys, it really helps us out. If you're there watching for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, would it kill you to just hit that like button? It really does help out. YouTube always tells me in the instruction manuals and all that when I go there, well, you need to make sure you get your people watching out there to like and subscribe. Okay, I ask, I ask. So if you can, please help us out by liking and also subscribing. That way, you're going to go ahead and get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air, including our shows tomorrow, because I've got Mike Anguilano coming on at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go ahead and talk some NBA observations ahead of the trade deadline because he covers the Pistons and the Cavs. Probably do a night show tomorrow as a preview to the trade deadline. And as you've seen on the YouTube channel, I have already scheduled it 9 a.m. Thursday. I don't know, probably won't be awake for it, but I'll be alive. I'll be awake in some sort of fashion. I'll have it on. We'll be talking. It's our annual NBA trade deadline special. So make sure you go ahead and check it out Thursday at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here, the Lakers Fast Break podcast. And then biggest and most important thing I want to go ahead and mention is thank you to our new members and also as well our current members who have stayed with us. It's just $2.99 a month. You get videos ahead of time. You get articles. You get exclusive stuff sent to you, emojis, badges. You've got shorts there that will no longer appear on the YouTube page, or in some cases, banned from TikTok as well. So go ahead and check it out if you're a member at $2.99 a month. It's the best deal in town right here from your friends at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. JY Hen said, what was the Black Olive bet again? It was undefeated on the road trip, by the way, JY. I know you guys like to just think conveniently like we forgot these things, but it was 6-0. Believe me, Joe and I hate olives. We know when we have to eat olives. 5-1 wasn't going to do it. 6-0 was going to do it for us. But the Lakers coming back home did get the 5-1 mark. Robert Wheeler was absolutely prophetic in his words when he said last week 5-1. And we thought, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but we'll see. Little did we know that the whole world would change around as far as the NBA is concerned. Not only did the Lakers come off with a victory, a shorthanded victory today, going away, it just seemed like it was an easy cakewalk from the get-go as the Lakers scored 45 points in the first quarter and just put it in cruise control after that. They didn't even try that hard on defense because they didn't have to, because the Clippers were absolutely awful from the outside. And the Lakers destroyed the Clippers in the Toilet Bowl, aka Intuit Dome, in my neck of the woods, Inglewood, California, where I was born, 122-97. And here today to discuss today's game is a good man indeed. Again, he is, of course, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is, of course, Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Could it be the Luka effect? Could it be the fact that the Lakers as an organization is on cloud nine after receiving this warm gift from Dallas? Your thoughts? The Lakers close this road trip at 5-1. The task gets a little bit easier in the next few games. The focus is now that window, which you and I thought was closed this time last week, is starting to open up.
Yes, the Lakers are one game out in the loss column for the 3 seed. It's a heck of an accomplishment being February 4th and also being 10 games over. And the Lakers have finally busted the red negative in terms of point differential. They've finally this year, or at least recently, gone above into the green. So the Lakers are finally over that hump. And if they continue to win these games by 25 and 20 like they have here the last few games, that number can continue to increase. The Lakers weren't 10 games above 500 until April 2nd of 2024 last year. So they are essentially 2 months ahead of schedule. And not only are they ahead of schedule, not only are they back in the green, not only are they a game back of the 3rd seed, they have a guy named Luka Doncic that's just waiting to arrive here within the next few days. So tomorrow they're going to be playing 5-on-5 for the first time. They're going to get a chance to test that calf. If I'm pretty sure they're going to hold them off a little. They're some talk that if it goes well tomorrow, there's a chance he might be available Thursday. But I'm going to go out on the limb and say he's probably going to be ready for Saturday against Indiana.
They're going to be cautious, Joe. I'm pretty sure they're going to be cautious. Yeah.
And if they want to, and if they end up being cautious for the Indiana game, it's almost guaranteed he'll be back for the Utah game on Tuesday. So it's been, I can't help but say that some of us have been on cloud nine and it hasn't come off. Mind you, guys, I'm a Dodger fan. I've already kind of been floating over there the last 4 months now, and I'm going to be meeting with our boy Empire Jeff, in training camp here in about 3 weeks. I'm sorry, spring training. I'm still in football mode. Spring training here in 3 weeks. So that euphoria there on what's going on in terms of championship last year, the way the offseason has gone, and then Jeannie and Rob going, guys, we can't have the Dodgers just clowning the Lakers. This is Laker town, baby. This is Lakers City. We got to do something. And man, did they do something. They got their own Ohtani coming to LA here in the next few days. And I'm just a barrel of just happiness. I just don't think I'm going to get off this cloud. Regardless if Rob can get us what we need in terms of a little bit of reinforcement on Thursday, for me, I see this as the big picture, and the big picture looks very, very bright. And the boys played here this last few games like we've been begging them to play, and I'm just so happy that they are. I'm just ecstatic.
Once again, it is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. The Lakers win very easily. Joe, surprising for me because they always play bad when they're playing against the Clippers as of late in recent years, but they totally destroyed them today. 122-97. Absolutely brightens my day. The Lakers are now 29-19, 10 games above 500, biggest they've ever been this season. They are now, like you said, 0.4. They're in the positive. They're only one game out of third, the loss column, like you said. They are gaining traction on the Nuggets and the Rockets. The Rockets are actually lost 4 in a row. We talked about this before, Joe, that maybe we assumed that they were playing a little bit above their heads in Houston. They've got a young team, very talented. No question on the talented, but they're maybe playing a little bit above their heads. So we were expecting at some point in time that fall might happen. I don't know if it's happening now, but losing 4 in a row isn't obviously going to help you at all. But with that, though, I will tell you, my friend, the top 3 seed might be in play.
It is in play.
Robert, I think is just probably not hearing. Robert might. Are these the same Joe and Gerald that were on last week?
Guys, look. Let me tell you this. Okay, I've already said that there's been some things that I've said about Jeannie and Rob that if I were ever to meet them, it would be the first thing I tell them. I said some bad things about you guys, and it sounded personal, and I would expect them not to forgive me. So I'm putting my cards on the table here. I said some bad stuff, and I know some of it might be warranted because they weren't necessarily doing things that were good, both off and on the court. But I realized I would rather be the guy that was commentating, maybe not on your show here in 2020, but on other things before during the good times. And I'm more than willing to take the blame, more than willing to just say, hey, look, I was wrong.
Hold on. Joey said Gerald called Luka. When did I call Luka fat?
I think Joey's trolling.
Yeah, he better.
He's not.
Please, if you continue that, I'm going to have to ban you, and I will enjoy every second in banning you. It'll make my day on top of it. Fact that not only we got Luka Doncic, who I never called fat, by the way. The second thing I'm going to tell you is that we won and we kicked the Clippers' ass. The third is banning you, but that will be a triumvirate of a good day, Joe.
Look, I feel too good, and I'm trying to also come straight with everyone and say I should have been more patient. I should have let Jeannie and Rob do what they needed to do a little bit longer. I was impatient and I said what I said. I can't take it back. It's already on tape. It's already there. But I'm just trying to set that up and say, hey, look, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And in recovering from that mistake, I'm happy to say that I'm going to be able to look at things in a much brighter light, because the light is very bright. And I'm very happy. I'm just very, very happy right now. I'm very excited about everything right now in terms of sports. Lakers being in this position, Lakers doing what they just did, doing what they're doing, and maybe what they might be doing here in the next few days. I just feel very happy. I'm so happy, and I want everyone to feel the happiness, and I want to commentate on the positiveness, because you would have seen that in the 2020 2021 runs with the Lakers, because I came in later. I really came in after all that. And it's just fun. It's fun to be happy a little bit. I don't want to be the grump. I know a lot of you guys like the rants. I'll still rant on viable situations, but I felt again that I went after certain things that I think maybe I shouldn't have turned the volume up so high. Right now, you got to give credit where credit is due. You got to give credit to LeBron. LeBron has played absolutely a masterful game the last week. And everyone on this team, I'm talking even including Jackson Hayes, everyone has played the way they were just anticipating where the ball was, the way they were rebounding, the way they were doing their bounce passes, the way they were just a half a second ahead of everyone, switching correctly, diving to the basket. I mean, this is exactly, guys, this is exactly what we hoped they would do, and they are absolutely doing it, and they're doing it in a consistent manner. And this is without their big gun yet implemented in this, and maybe even other guns that might be coming here in the next couple of days. So I just tonight's game. What other way? What other way could you have? What other way could you have really put a button on this road trip, but whooping the shit out of the Clippers? That place was freaking quiet. The only noise that came out of there were the Laker fans. That whole whatever back section of Clipper heathens, you couldn't even hear anything. Okay, all you heard was Laker fans in the background somewhere, and a 25-point button on a 5-1 road trip. My God, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. I want more. You're on mute, G.
Turd War, I wanted to thank you so much, Turd War, for the super chats. Truly appreciate it. Want to go ahead. The first one, Joe has a pep in his step and said, Joe, you called it for what it was. Nothing wrong right there. The one thing, although somebody pointed out, not Joey because he's an idiot, but somebody else pointed out something I wanted to ask you. Do you still have your feelings on the Guggenheims, or are you going to give Jimmy more a pass now? That's something I wanted to.
If that option was still on the table, I'd probably still take it, because the Guggenheims have more resources than Genie. However, if the results are perennial title contenders and winning a few titles, I'm not going to complain. I was saying this on playback. The thing that really hit me, and I realized it recently, that I might have, the draft was kind of the coup de grace, if you will, in terms of hitting the bottom on everything. Really, it was the Celtics winning the title. If the Celtics hadn't won the title last year, I probably wouldn't have been as upset, because we've been watching the Lakers do what they've done, and they were a title away from passing them, and then they won, and now we have to win 2 more to get past them, and there was no light at the end of this. What were they going to do after LeBron? What were they going to do after AD? There was no vision there, and the way the system was set up, it was set up so that you can't get guys like Luka. You can't get guys like Giannis. Why? Because who's going to turn down $347 million for 5 years? There's no Laker team that's anything close to 357 or $347 million. There is no Laker team. Doesn't matter if they were winning 4 straight championships. Luka would have taken that money and stayed in Dallas. But that whole situation, there's a little bit of news here and there that comes out that we think is true, that maybe makes sense. That they maybe not want to pay him the extra $100 million because of fitness, because of attitude. I don't know. I really don't know. I actually don't really care because I believe Luka is absolutely going to go to the Hall of Fame as a Laker. He's going to have his jersey up in the rafters as long as he doesn't get any kind of major injury, and he will be known as a Laker. And that didn't come from me. That came from a Dallas fan that I heard a couple days ago. He said, you all know that no one is going to remember Luka anymore for Dallas. And this is a guy that had 5 first-team All-NBA spots as a Maverick. Also won Rookie of the Year, won Western Conference Finals MVP. I mean, you're talking about scoring title. You're talking about pretty much every kind of individual award he has almost. And he's going to be remembered like Kareem is remembered as a Laker. A lot of people didn't remember Kareem as a Buck. And he won a title there and an MVP. So, yeah, it's a beautiful time to be a Laker, an LA fan. It really is a professional LA fan. I'm talking about real LA folks, not the Anaheim Angels, not the Clippers. I'm talking about the LA Lakers and the LA Dodgers. That if you are a fan of those 2 franchises, guys, we are looking at a decade's worth, and those teams have not lined up like that really since the 80s to a degree. But even baseball in the 80s there was so much parity in baseball in the 80s. People who didn't grow up in that time don't remember it, but that Dodger team won more World Series in the 80s than any other team. They won 2, but it was 2 different teams and almost 2 different eras. And that's how baseball was. So we've never seen, at least in my lifetime, the Lakers and the Dodgers kind of together at once. Even in the 50s, when the Lakers were in Minneapolis winning titles, I think they won 5 out of 6. No, I don't think I know. They won 5 out of 6. The Dodgers won in 55 in Brooklyn and then won in 59 when they were in LA. That would be probably the closest. Sure. Same thing kind of like in the 80s. But with these 2 teams, the way they're set up now it's not going to be, I don't believe it's going to be 2 different eras in baseball. It's going to be one era, the Ohtani era, the Mookie Betts era, and then you have now the Luka Doncic era that's coming up. So it's a lot of really good stuff, guys. I think it's just going to be the best era for us. And then what a time to see it. What a time to be involved in it. I've already seen everything. You know, I feel like I'm already blessed. I've seen my team win 2 Super Bowls. They've been to 4. I've seen my Lakers go to 8 NBA Finals. They've won 6. I've seen the Dodgers go win 3 World Series, go to 5. I'm getting, basically it's just extras for me, but the extras keep getting bigger and bigger.
Once again, the Lakers do win, going away 122-97. Absolutely a great victory for the team. Caps off a weekend, Joe. Caps off a period of time that absolutely is probably one of the best during season moments in Lakers history, in my opinion, during the season. I'm not talking about postseason or anything like that. Just the euphoria from winning at MSG, Joe, shorthanded like we were, to getting the Luka trade announced thereafter. And you can see the reaction video is now available in a 10-minute format right there on the YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Actually, a couple hundred people have already did, and I know my daughter came to be laughing. She said she watched it 3 times just because it was so funny. I will say, though, then after that, you know, it leads into the whole getting off the plane, him flashing the LA, doing all the good stuff like that, having the press conference earlier today, all leading into today's big win on the road, still shorthanded, to cap off a 5-1 road trip, my friend. This was a good period of time. This was a good few days for the Lakers. I am just sincerely hopeful that they can sustain it and add on to it, as we'll discuss with Rob Pelinka. Again, you were given Luka, but you got the job done with a deal. So I got to give you credit for that. But now the true work begins, and the decision needs to be made whether you want to go ahead and build for this team now for a run, which I think they should do, in my opinion, or wait until the summer and see what happens then.
It's circumstance, G. If he can get something by Thursday,
Oh yeah, yeah,
he's going
absolutely,
to
of
do it.
course.
But and the
I
way
don't
the
think
team,
Giannis. I don't think Giannis is falling into his lap at at another dinner in the next few days.
If Giannis wants to be a Laker, he's going to have to take a major pay cut and get here in 2027. It's that simple. Jokic, Jokic doesn't want to deal with the LA hoopla. He's a farm boy. He's a low key guy. I don't think he'll want to deal with anything in LA. I mean, maybe Luka can talk him out of it, sure. But at this point, I can't say anything anymore. I can't say nothing's going to happen. I'm just going to say it's not likely from here on out. There's nothing that's not possible anymore in this world. There isn't, and in the sports world, it's just not. It's it's LA. Jeannie pulled the greatest Dr. Bus move in this deal. She supported it. She was the boss in this. Rob, with his covert ops 3.5 week setup, this was, you have to give both of those people their props. And when you screw up, folks, you eat it, you admit to it, and you get down and you say, I got nothing. And that's what I have. I have nothing. Jeannie and Rob made me look like a douche. And it's the only time in my life I felt good being a douche. I'll be honest with you. I'm just very happy that they did what they did, and they got my full support from here on out, man. They'll never ever hear me say a negative thing about them again. And that's such a douche move. Why would I not support? It's easy to support people when it's good, right? Right?
Mhm.
That's why I use the word douche. But when the chips are down, that's when you really know who the people that really support you. And I wasn't there. I was a bum. I was a bum, and I now have to eat it. Now I have to lay in it and hope that it's okay later. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got on that. But what else can he do? What else can he do? It happened, and now it's time to look forward and enjoy what's coming.
One thing I don't like though with Rob is when he's his frankness, for lack of a better term, sometimes when he goes and elaborates like he did earlier this morning, paraphrasing here, but he elaborated that that the center market is a little dry. Um, that might be the case. That very well might be the case, but I wish you wouldn't elaborate that out in public like that, and just work and focus on getting to the point where you can trade for areas of need to help this team and Luka and LeBron to get them into a better spot. Because again, I've told you, Joe, Luka and LeBron playing in a 7-game playoffs format is competitive against anybody. I didn't say they would win against anybody. So please don't be the idiot like Joey and misquote me out there. I will say this again: they can be competitive against anybody in a 7-game series. If Luka gets hot, or if LeBron gets hot, and Luka gets hot, you see those guys can just go off for 40, both of them 40 points each for games in the same game. So if that can happen, why not try to put the talent around them? They don't have many assets anyways. So even if you're saying wait till the summer, for those saying wait till the summer, yeah, some money's going to come off the books, but how much realistically? Some of the $2 million deals, Joe, those will be coming off the books. There's no big expiring deal like D'Lo's anymore that they can really play around with, Joe. They just have some expirings at the back end of the roster, which again, that's a little bit here, a little bit there, so it does add up a little bit. But when it comes right down to it, the amount of assets is not going to grow exponentially in the summer, most likely. So why not try to just go ahead and just do what you can now, build for a team now, but go forward. But you're like you said, it all depends on what's out there in the marketplace, and if nobody's really trying to sell, that could be a problem as well.
Rob Pelinka also said in an interview that we were chastising him about, where we're
Mhm.
going to have to start developing more. Well, folks, that didn't happen here. That wasn't the case. The Lakers, whether he was telling the truth or not, they still went back to the well that the Lakers have been pulling water out of since their inception. It's just, this is the Lakers. They're gonna get the stars. And by Rob saying that it's a soft market, there's some truth to that. But I'm not gonna be surprised if he pulls something out. He could easily say, "Well, I didn't expect this," right? I don't think Rob expected Nico Harrison to say, "Hey, we'll throw in Luka." And when he did, Rob's like, "All right, you're my boy. We got to keep this on the wraps. You're my guy. Please keep it on the wraps. Don't tell LeBron. Don't tell AD. Don't tell anybody." I really believe because they're tight like that, they've known each other for years, guys. These guys were tight with Kobe. They did business together. They know each other very well, very well. It's like Brett Boone and Dave Roberts. You know, there's a really great picture of Dave Roberts hugging Brett Boone after they beat the Yankees in Game 5 for the World Series. Those guys really, really respect and love each other, right? And it's the same thing I think with Nico and Rob. They're very good friends. They've worked together, and they're connected through Kobe, right? That's why I feel very comfortable in believing the fact that they did do this under wraps. No one knew what was going on because they knew it would leak.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Mitch Kupchak did the same thing. Now, he wasn't as tight with Memphis management. Maybe Jerry West made a call and helped out a little bit. Maybe because he was a consultant there for a while. He wasn't there at that time in 2008, but maybe he made a call and said, "Hey, Mitch is going to talk to you. Please just keep it quiet for right now and respect that setup." And what's great about Mitch Kupchak is he always played by the rules. He never broke those rules. He was a very honorable man and very respectful. And that ended up becoming something of a surprise too. No one knew because everyone said the same thing. Wait a minute. Pau Gasol was being coveted by the Bulls and all this stuff going on. And if you had just let us know that he was available, we would have went after him too. But there's reasons that we don't know about on why those particular meetings happen. Good for the Lakers for sure. And I'm not going to argue against it. I'm glad it went the way it went. And I'm sure that if any of the information came out, because it's happened before, when things leak out too quickly, i.e. Jack Haley, rest in peace, Jack Haley, when he said Carlos Boozer was coming to LA, what happened? It didn't happen. He lost all his credibility. I don't know if he lost his job because of it, but his credibility was shot. And he never really recovered from it in terms of professional. So it's just not. It's irrelevant at this point. It's just good discussion because it's recent, but at the same time, maybe down the road there's going to be a cool story when we find out more information on how this kind of took place. Especially if Luka ends up bringing a championship to LA. The second Luka's holding the Larry O'Brien Trophy, this whole thing becomes as validated as LeBron winning the championship in 2020 coming to LA.
Robert Wheeler says, Joe and Gerald, has your view on how far the Lakers can go changed? What are you most excited to see the rest of the season with the Lakers? Robert, I think we've elaborated already on that. Yes. Did we not just say earlier that it went from fully closed, that window, which we have told you several times, Robert, that the team with LeBron and AD last week was not going to win you a championship. We've made it abundantly clear. And I know that you were one of those few that felt otherwise, but it was very clear that this team was not going to be able to get where you wanted to go. It was absolutely crystal clear that there was going to be no building around the edges or getting enough people that's going to be able to help LeBron and AD. Again, with Luka now here and both of those guys playing to their abilities, you now have a matchup, and what the playoffs are all about, Joe, are matchups. And Luka and LeBron matching up against any team gives them a fighting chance. And if things break right, whether or not we get centers or not, which again, it makes it better if we do, of course, but you put them in a playoff series against anyone in the NBA, and it's going to make that other team nervous. And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, here's what you've solved that you were desperately needing that wasn't talked about enough by even us. We no longer have to worry about those lulls with 2 minutes left. You have Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic has a clutch gene, and he is scary. His clutch gene. So what's a clutch gene? It's the first thought would be, oh, he makes the shot when it matters. No, that's not it. It's not only that. It's the control of the game. It's the control of the fear that the other team has of that player making a shot. That is the clutch gene. You don't have to have the buzzer beater every time. That's a part of it, but more so than anything, if you watched Kobe, you watched guys like Luka, guys like Magic and Jordan, and these Robert Ory and D Fish have some say in there, but they needed the ball to go to them for them to be clutch. I'm talking about the guys that can create the clutch moments, the clutch gene. Those guys put the fear of God. And when you look at some of the last second wins that the Lakers had when Kobe was winning championships and competing, right, with Pau and Artest and those guys, there are moments. Is it a coincidence that why is it that all of a sudden, guys like Ori, even though he came into LA already being clutch from Houston, but not like clutch like he was in LA. In LA, he did a lot more in LA than he did in Houston in terms of like last second shots. Well, the reason why he had those opportunities is because he had Kobe having that clutch gene, and it opened up things for those guys. Fish, same thing. And then, of course, they were able to carry that on to other things as well. I'm not just putting it all on Kobe, but it helps, right? That's where they kind of flourished. You saw it with Jordan when it came to Steve Kerr, when it came to Jim Paxson, when it came to those guys. And then fast forward, you had games where the Lakers won in the playoffs against Phoenix, where Kobe had like 4 guys on him. He shoots the 3. Ron Artest gets the rebound, puts it in, and they win the game. You have Pau getting a last second shot to close out the first round against Oklahoma City because Kobe missed. Pau was there to put it back in. It's not just the main guy hitting the main shot. It's sometimes there's so much attention to that guy. There's so much fear that it creates opportunities for everybody else. Now you have Luka Doncic who can make the shot, who can distribute it, and put the fear of God in everyone. And on top of that, you have LeBron James now possibly diving to the basket when that's happening. And what is the safest play in basketball, guys? What is the safest play in NBA history, in my book? LeBron going to the hoop. And I'll say this again for the new people. Some will say, whoa, Joe, whoa. What about Kareem Skyhook? What about Jordan dunking on people? What about Kobe? I go, guys, there's never been a player that could handle the ball at that size and have that kind of speed in NBA history. Never. I can't put it on a center. Center needs to have the ball distributed to him. I'm talking about someone who can control the ball, someone who has the size, the speed, and the agility to do that day in, day out, game in, game out. So now, Luka, where's his role in this? I think you all know this. And now we have the clutch gene. So all those games that the Lakers were losing, like in a crappy way, or they were up 6 and they end up crapping on themselves, like the Atlanta game, like the Orlando game. Those games, if Luka was on the team, minus 80, obviously, those games are wins. Those games are wins guaranteed with Luka handling the ball. And LeBron, the greatest star ever, that allows someone else to do the clutch work. That could be bad or good. I always thought of it as being bad, right? Yes. But in this case, it's going to be very good. Let Luka do his thing because Luka will come through. So it's just whatever happens, guys, this year, to me, is a stepping stone to what I believe will be a 2026 title run. I feel very confident that the LA Lakers will be a force next year because I think they're going to have some time this summer to do some things. They'll put some reinforcements in this, and they'll compete. And maybe LeBron plays one more year next year, wins, and goes out on top, or maybe he goes, dude, I feel real good, and I want to see if I can get number 6 with Luka now that's here. Who knows? But it's going to be fun to sit here and wait and see what happens now. Now there's hope. Now there's a 10-year window. Again, God willing, there's no injuries. As long as there's no injuries to Luka, there's a 10-year window here where the Lakers are going to compete. And I am absolutely head over heels excited for that. Just hearing that in my own head is just making me very happy.
Damazine, I know we're all in a euphoric state. Joe is still in a euphoric state himself. And I know he said he couldn't think clearly at times when the trade happens. But even Joe in that delirious state would have never said Hayes can guard Jokic. That's just, come on. That's yeah. You're on mute. You're on mute. Yeah, that's just
that might be two accounts going at once.
Yeah,
with Mr. Joey.
Yeah. Well, Damazine said that, I really feel that Hayes can guard Jokic, and I'm like,
Probably someone we know too.
yeah. I was like, whatever you're smoking, dude, man, go get some help, man, because that stuff is way too strong for you. But he also said earlier in the chat that build the team around Luka and Bronny. Yeah, so really strong stuff you're having.
I don't think
there,
it's the hippie lettuce at this point. I think it might be something.
Oh, maybe it's
stronger.
like nose candy. Yeah, maybe nose candy.
Nose candy usually makes you a little bit more hyped and crazier, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it's weed though. I think it might be a heavier narcotic.
Okay, Damazine, Hayes did not stop Zubats. Zubats in some cases got frustrated and stopped himself. The Clippers as a whole stopped themselves tonight. They shot under 30% for three. Lakers didn't even really look like they were working that hard on defense. They just built a perimeter right there. Didn't really have to exert that much energy, Joe, after the first quarter. They didn't even try hard. They were letting them shoot threes, and they were still not even close. I don't know about stopping Zubats if that's the case, because remember, Zubats outclassed Wemby the other day. So Zubats is averaging a double-double. Hayes is, he's barely averaging a single. So let's go ahead and put things in perspective, Damazine and everybody out there. We still need centers. We talked about it yesterday, what we graded our centers as far as the levels, as far as NBA level, we graded them an F. They need something that they can go ahead and rely on. They need big bodies in there because Jackson Hayes is not going to get it done. I don't care what Damazine says. I don't care what Damazine thinks. If he absolutely believes that Hayes is good at legit NBA starting center, that's a sign that the Lakers might have some issues up front.
Yeah. Tonight, the Clippers maybe took the Lakers lightly because they were on their heels from the moment that game started, and they had to cover ground by shooting threes because that's what these morons do these days to try to catch up, and they couldn't catch up because they couldn't stop the Lakers. They couldn't stop them. They were half a second ahead of every rebound, loose ball, everything. You had LeBron diving like D fish after balls on the other side of the court. So if you're going to have these guys play like this, you're not going to necessarily have a chance unless you're an elite team. And that's just what it is. Hayes played probably his best game tonight, actually. If I had to pick a game this year, I think he was phenomenal tonight, actually. But he's not going to be that. Jackson is not a starter in the NBA. He is a bench big that'll cover ground for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. That's his game. He cannot play consistent ball. It's just not how his game works. That's why I strongly feel that the Lakers, if they don't get a center, they're going to get somebody else to at least man the 5 position that can at least hold their own a little bit. by Thursday, and that's how I feel about that. And then they'll have to wait probably to the summer to maybe get someone of significance. But
Mia, we got you back on. By the way, Mia got accidentally banned. Mia's been taken care of. Mia, you're back. You're good
why was
graces.
she
So,
banned?
Xbox kind of made a mistake. It goofed up. So yeah. So yeah. He had an accident because he was working on something with his job and accidentally got Mia back. So Mia, you are unbanned. So just want to let you know. But Joey, you're still banned. So there you go. Not you, Joe.
I know
I
you're
know they
talking
call
about.
you Joey sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. People who put words in your mouth, like you said, yeah, that's not good. But
Well,
Mia's back.
there's a difference between someone who actually says it and means it versus someone who's just slapdicking around.
Yeah.
If you want to, if you get your jollies off on the chat just because you're bored, all right, whatever. I can just ignore it.
I got Laker Nick on him. That's what I'll do. Yeah, he starts throwing that stuff out there like libel, and I'll get Laker Nick on you so fast. Sure him. Give you a knock on your
I'm not
door,
one
man.
for litigation. That's why we have Laker Nick to do that for us.
Yeah,
I don't like
I'm from
doing that
Cal.
stuff.
I'm from Cali. I'm from Cali, like you, Joe. Well, actually, you're not originally from Cali. I am from Cali.
Might as well
You know
be.
it's the suing state. So there you go.
Yeah.
But once again, the Lakers do win 122-97. I mentioned before, Joe, that, and this is something we talked about before, the schedule, man, at home against Golden State, the wishy-washy Golden State, right on trade deadline day, at home against Indiana. Watch out for that last second three-pointer. At home against Utah. Well, actually, home and home against Utah. Charlotte, Portland. They've got to go another 5-1 here, Joe.
I was thinking the same thing. If they go 5-1 again, that would be
Leading into Denver's. Leading into Denver. Yeah.
amazing because that would take them 14 games over 500 and looking at the schedule, we'll probably have a better idea if Luka indeed does come back for the Indiana game. I'll feel really comfortable with the Lakers possibly finishing those next 5 with him. There, it's man, I think I'm trying to not fall into the greed area, but my God, if the Lakers can somehow squeak out, because I don't think Luka will be back Thursday. I wish he would, but I don't think he will. I feel pretty confident he'll be back for Indiana, and I'm guaranteeing he'll be back for the Utah on Monday. So if the Lakers, let's just say, split the Golden State Indiana games, and Luka comes back for that Utah game, I feel very confident with the way
It's
the
a
Lakers
Saturday game for Indiana, by the way.
Yeah, with the Lakers, if Luka will be back Monday. I feel very almost 100% on that. Then they're playing Utah at home. Then they play Utah in Utah, and then Charlotte at home, and then Portland in Portland. The next 4 games or 5. Those next 4 games. I feel pretty confident that they can win those 4 games with the way they're playing now. I feel very confident that they can finish 5-1 in a good way, and then they'll be ready for Denver on the 22nd, nationally televised game, and we now have Luka Doncic to play Denver, and we all know that Luka likes playing Denver.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Luka, we've got a lot of new fans both on playback and also on our show tonight that are transplants from Luka followers. That they were more Luka followers than they were Mavs followers, and it's great to see. And welcome, honor roll student, and anybody else who likes and appreciate Luka. Honor roll student says, "I just want to say congrats to the Lakers for getting Luka. I'm going to follow Luka and the Lakers. Hope Lakers win a chip. I hope Lakers score. I hope Luka scores 100 points and owes." Us Nico and owns us. Nico is a joke, and I'll always love Luka. So there you go. Yeah, very devoted fan there. Good to see. Good to see the love that's out there for Luka, and that it transcends beyond just him being on the Mavs.
Yeah, there's an allegiance. It's especially the European player. It's a soccer thing as well. People follow Messi, people follow Ronaldo, Mbappe, Neymar. These guys are their own entity, and while I'm more attached to the team, and if you're in Europe, it's usually called club. That's something I found kind of interesting when Luka was being interviewed today for his press conference. He kept calling the Lakers the club because that's a European, that's a soccer thing, a European thing, and the allegiance to a singular player it's not, it's just different here versus outside America in my view. You still have a lot of people that follow LeBron and Shaq
Yeah.
and Kobe and all that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen here, but it's more of a habit outside the country versus the team fandom here in America. It's easy to cheer for Luka too. Luka is extremely charismatic. He's dominant. He's flamboyant, but he's not flamboyant in a dirty way. He's got the looks, the size, the killer instinct. The guy's got it all. I mean, you can't deny it. I'm still puzzled at how he wasn't the first pick overall. What did they make a mistake with this guy in 2018 where they didn't think this guy was going to be a star? There was a huge backlog on this guy since he was 14 that this guy was him. And to fast forward 7 years later and see him wearing Laker gear, man, are we blessed as Laker fans. I did not choose to be a Laker fan. I was surrounded by it as I grew up. Wasn't anything other than that. Wasn't me. Yeah, it wasn't me
Mhm.
adopting the team when they were winning, and I knew they were winning. I was around the Laker world as I grew up, and man, what luck was that to be able to see just in these last 30 years that I've seen Shaq become a Laker, Kobe, I've seen Paul Gasol, I've seen Anthony Davis, I've seen LeBron James, and now Luka Doncic. When does this end? Thank God it will never end.
One thing I want to mention to you that there are still people who are very negative and against the trade. I'll give you Mr. Kelly Olynyk himself, the guy who's Kelly Olynyk's biggest fan, Nick T. He said, "You're giving Luka too much credit, Joe. I saw Porzingis struggle playing with Luka, but was big part of the Celtics chip. Luka is a ball hog and plays zero defense. I feel like he's going to ruin his chemistry."
I'm gonna let Luka show you guys who he is. I'm not his keeper. I'll just let him show you. Luka's gonna show you guys. The only way he won't is if he has some catastrophic injury. Obviously, we have to always throw that in there. If he doesn't get injured, folks, you are going to see a multiple MVP. I'll admit I said that about Anthony Davis because after what I saw after 2020, I said there's no way Anthony Davis is not going to win MVPs now. But I was wrong there. But this is different. Luka's a different beast. Luka is he has a clutch gene, and he's vicious, and he controls the ball, and he's extremely smart and a half a step in front of everybody. When that guy gets the right team, guys, you're going to see dominance. You're going to see a Jokic-like run in terms of individual accolades, and I believe it'll be even more in terms of winning. Because the Lakers will supply the resources as long as they win. This is not the Denver Nuggets. They're not going to let go of guys like KCP and players that have the Bruce Browns because they don't want to pay. Lakers, one thing that they've never ever failed in is when they're winning, they pay. I think the only time they didn't pay when we were kind of upset a little bit, but we understood, was when the Lakers didn't win in 2003. They let Robert Horry go. But that's because Robert Horry had a terrible run, had a terrible playoff. And it wasn't really his fault. I think he played too many minutes that year and he just ran out of gas at the end. But other than that, Lakers will continue to reinforce what they have. And I'm sure that the mistake that they made in 2022 will never happen again, because I think they even knew that, man, we really screwed this up. We really screwed this up. There's going to have to be something really big for us to do to make up for it. And man, did they do it. They tripled it, by the way.
They did indeed, my friend. And again, you and I are very happy, ecstatic about this because we see exactly what this could do for the now and for the future going forward. The Lakers, we've always talked about this.
A subscriber.
And thank you, Sylvestris, for subscribing. Truly appreciate it. Joe, we've talked about before this time last week and beyond about how it was very cloudy. It was very uncertain, the future after LeBron and AD. Now it's crystal clear in one Luka Doncic. So it makes things a lot more palpable going forward because you have a superstar that you can continue to build around even after LeBron leaves, whether he leaves this season, next season, or whenever. There is now a future in LA, and that's something obviously that we saw. Not everybody sees that same thing. There's still people like Nick T out there who are very adamant against this trade, and I don't think anything we're going to say, there's still LeBron haters out there. LeBron can get and do what he does. There's still a lot of people that are so negative on LeBron even to this day, and I can't say I blame them because he does so many things that we've talked about that facilitate that negativity. But in the case of Luka, I'm hoping that he'll provide some positivity for all the Lakers fans out there, whether they want him here or not.
It's done. It's done in my book. I'm done thinking about the negatives with LeBron, AD. Again, I hope AD works out well in Dallas. If they end up winning the championship this year, I'll be happy for them. I really will. I don't care anymore, folks. I don't care about thinking about those things anymore. It's energy draining. It's energy draining. I want LeBron to be. If LeBron can play the way he played the last week, at least half the year, hell, let him sign an extension. The reason why I say that is because he's not going to have to exert as much energy now, for sure. This isn't even Dwayne Wade. This isn't even Kyrie. Kyrie, as good as he is, doesn't command an offense like Luka. Luka commands an offense like magic. Even LeBron didn't command an offense like Luka. Luka's different, guys. Luka can shoot from 30 feet on a step back and swish it over and over and over again. And he can hit gaps. He can hit seams. And he doesn't even look like he's moving. He's like Larry Bird of today. It's how Larry Bird used to play a little bit. Now, even then, Larry Bird didn't really play point either. He was a point forward. This guy's a bona fide point guard. So that's going to extend LeBron's life. If LeBron continues to train the way he is and he's playing like this for another 2-3 years, why not? Because we know that they're going to get more guys. They're going to get them. And if LeBron could play like this, he might have a chance to finish this off the way he was supposed to finish it off with AD. That's a realistic thing, guys. I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to be positive. There's a legitimate, it's legitimate that could happen. There's also a chance that it might, but why even think about that? Why? Luka's 25 years old, guys. He's going to be 26 in a few weeks. 26. That means he hasn't even hit his prime yet. He's about to hit it. And I'm not talking prime. I'm talking prime. Get this guy the team he needs, and you're going to see some amazing basketball. And LA is going to bring what it brings when they're on. And the NBA got a huge push, guys. Guys, has anyone talked about the Super Bowl? Today was media day, wasn't it?
Yes.
I haven't seen one thing. One. I've been watching TV all day. I was home all day today. I didn't see anything about the Super Bowl.
Andy Reid's not going to retire. That's the only thing I saw.
He said for sure.
I'm sorry. And Mahomes was stunned by the trade. Yeah. He's very sad about the trade. For Luka. Heard that one.
it's going to hurt worse, Dallas fans. It's going to hurt worse because history says when the Lakers get the star, they win. Every star the Lakers have ever gotten has won. Down from George Mikan. George Mikan, Jerry West. The only one that hasn't won, I should say, is Elgin Baylor. He's the only one. He retired a month and a half in on the year where they went 69-13. That's it. Elgin Baylor's the only one that didn't win. He technically got a ring that year, but he wasn't a factor in it. As far as acquiring the talent, because Elgin Baylor was drafted in 1959. He's still the only rookie of the year that the Lakers have ever had too. So any player that the Lakers have acquired that was a star, Kareem, Wilt, Shaq, LeBron, AD, Pau Gasol, all won championships. Some you could even say Bob McAdoo when he was acquired in 1981. He was a former MVP, scoring champion. He won a couple championships. I mean, it's what it is, guys. The Lakers do this. This is what the Lakers do, and I'm ready to make up for my negativity, and I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be talking good now. I'm going to be talking, and hopefully, all is forgiven at this point. And if it's not forgiven, I get it, because the real fans are there when it's hard. Now, we were still there. We were still watching the games, right? We still supported the team, but again, I think some of it got a little too personal, and there's a little regret on my end on that. I think I should have done it better. So I'm just ready. I'm ready to see what happens here in the next couple of days. The next couple of days are going to be very, very interesting. See what might also come here, and can they get just one extra big that you can feel comfortable in the last 5 minutes of a game and not have to worry about any kind of fumbles or anything like that. That's kind of where my head is right now.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. Truly appreciate it. So the Lakers, again, they still have a glaring need in the middle. Again, if you are giving praise like JJ did after the game to Jackson Hayes for a 6.6 rebound performance, okay, fine, all right. Still, Zubats did out rebound him, so he did only got 8 points. True, but then again, the entire team for the Clippers struggled mightily from all over. So, just seemed like one of those games where the Lakers just absolutely had their number. But be that as it may, I still think again the Lakers are one, possibly two big men away from really making me feel like this is a team that can really go places. But again, even in its current format, Joe, put them in a 7-game series and anything can happen if one of those two or both get hot, because both of those can light it up as far as just be able to take over a series. Even LeBron at this stage with Luka behind him now could really, benefit from this. He doesn't have to go ahead and do everything like he's had at times. We've talked about the LeBron on 5 before, iso ball and all that. Yes, iso ball, it will be. That's just going to have to be the way you're going to see it for a lot of times. But be that as it may, again, there's a glaring hole in the middle. What would you do about trying to shore it up sooner rather than later?
I asked the question, if you switched out Kyrie for LeBron last year in the finals, is the result different? I had never seen Kyrie play as bad as he did in the 2024 finals. He was absolutely neutralized. And then the Celtics made Doncic play defense. They ran at him because they knew all his energy was going to have to be spent trying to keep Dallas in those games. and it worked because Kyrie could not bust out of whatever he was getting busted on. And guys like Lively and Gafford, that's a different area, guys. That's a different level. To ask a rookie to play at an elite level in the finals is difficult. A Gafford is good, but he's not that good. And they couldn't. Kyrie could not bust out of getting really dominated in those 5 games. He was non-existent, and they needed Kyrie to be 2016 Kyrie to have a chance to beat Boston. And Boston had lost a lot of close series. They were seasoned, they were conditioned, and they were able to take advantage of the matchup. So substitute Kyrie Irving for LeBron James playing the Celtics. Is it the same result? Does it at least go 7 instead of 5? It's debatable. I think if LeBron is on that team, I actually think Dallas wins in 7. I might sound like a homer, but I just don't see how LeBron would have been shut down like that. I don't think with someone of Luka's caliber. So insert now this team. Now you have LeBron and Luka. Yes, we don't have a Lively. Yes, we don't have a Gafford, but we have Rui hitting shots. We have AR hitting shots. If Connect can hit his stride, he's a threat also. You have more of a kind of a small ball team versus kind of a big team. Maybe that might match up better with a Celtic type team. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out. Maybe the Lakers get a bona fide starting center, not a elite guy, not even a very, very good guy, but someone decent that can at least hold his own. And then we get a chance to see if you don't give up any assets, big assets or depth, now look what Gabe Vincent's doing. If he's going to start hitting shots, that's huge. Now you have your backup guard hitting shots. There's a lot of things that can happen this year at this point. We actually said that even before Doncic came. This is just one of those things where there's no clear-cut guy. There's no clear-cut team. One injury can change everything. We don't know. We're going to have to wait it out. But they're in a better position now than they were before because we had seen for, 3 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Not counting this year, obviously. I'm counting the last 3 years of, the end. It just looked like the AD LeBron thing wasn't working. So we're going to get a chance to see if Luka and LeBron will work. And no better time to do it than now. Oh, and the NBA won back their trade deadline. And I can't help but be happy for the NBA. They stumped the NFL on Super Bowl week. So if you all don't think this is a big thing, Luka and the NBA stumped the Super Bowl the last 3 days. I believe, guys, I'm a football guy. You think I know basketball? Nothing compared to football. Football is my thing. Football was what I wanted to do my whole life. I'm telling you guys right now, I saw 2 articles the last, 12 hours that I've been watching TV. Last 13 and a half because I started watching the Luka press conference at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, it's been Laker, Doncic. Everything on YouTube has been just reactions from the Doncic trade. The only thing I heard was the like you said, G, the Andy Reid thing. He's for sure going to coach next year, but there's no definite on whether he's going to play. He's going to coach more.
That is the case. He'll be 32. Jokic will be. He'll definitely opt out at that 27-28 player option, but by then you will think that Denver will have offered him a max contract, a super max contract. I think not this season, but at the end of maybe at the end of the season. Yeah, I think at the end of this season or next season. I think that the next season they can offer him a max contract. If he doesn't take it, then maybe that will increase the signs that Jokic could be on the move as well. But we will Definitely wait to see. Damazine says, Joe Sorrell, how do you feel about LA against Denver and OKC as it stands right now?
I feel better playing Denver now. Oklahoma City, that's going to be a tough team. However, still a young team, and Chet Holmgren can't stay healthy. Much like how I've picked my winner of the Super Bowl, until somebody beats Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to be going with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And with Oklahoma City, until they win a big series in the playoffs, I don't know. I won't know 100% on how to gauge that. If there's a competitive series with Oklahoma City with the Lakers, who are you going to go with? Are you going to go with Chet Holmgren and Shea Gilgeous, or are you going to go with LeBron James and Luka Doncic? That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. Obviously, the Oklahoma City has a better all-around team, but folks, remember, in the playoffs, it's a star league. The stars make the difference in the playoffs. It's very rare. It's only since, in my view, the only time I saw a team defeat megastars was in 2004, and that took an extreme amount of mental destruction for it to happen. Shaq and Kobe were disconnected. Phil didn't know how to do anything with these guys. They weren't listening to him. Gary Payton was kind of AWOL, and then Karl Malone was hurt, and they had no depth. Rick Fox was out. Derek Fisher was on one leg. Horace Grant couldn't play. Slava was your starting four. That's the only time I saw a team really just go through what they needed to go through to win it all. But other than that, it's always the stars. It's always the stars.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Again, you and I will be here 9 a.m. on Thursday. We'll be covering the NBA trade deadline. It's our annual special, spectacular NBA trade deadline special. Go ahead and catch it Thursday, starting at 9 a.m. We'll be there till 1 p.m. So we will have a hard out then. But again, the trade deadline's at noon, and I'm hoping it'll be active. We've had some years where we've been able to talk at on end about all the movement and all the trades, and then there have been trade deadlines, Joe, where we shut it down right after the trade deadline because there wasn't much going on for the Lakers. And obviously, with Luka being here, that changes the dynamic and also changes, I think, the urgency in some cases. I know maybe what the word is from most of these insiders, so to speak, Joe, was saying that the Lakers were just working along the fringes, looking to just upgrade here and there, do a little bit of tweaking. Again, with the availability of this team and seeing AR playing well, but again, his position is now redundant because you already have Luka coming in there. Do you really want to put Austin on the bench? Which again, you and I both think that is the best spot for him. But if you're Austin, financially, it's not in your best interest because you have a contract extension or new contract that you'll be playing for here in a couple seasons. So your thoughts, though, my friend, with the trade deadline coming around, is Austin going to be on the move? Is Rui going to be on the move? Is that first round final draft pick going to be on the move?
If I had to pick a yes or no answer, I'm going to say no. I believe Rob is going to try to get a center that could be viable with as little resource to be sent out as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe he's going to try to do. The only way he moves Rui and Austin is if it's almost the same situation with AD and LeBron before the trade. It has to be a third guy that is going to make a huge difference. Someone who could score at will, someone who could maybe play some really solid defense, that type of guy. I don't know any players out there that'll be available that could do that aren't making $50 million. I don't know who's out there, who would be out there. You're not going to go get Durant. That's not going to happen. You're not going to go get Jimmy Butler. And even in those cases, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think Durant, there's a really good chance. I think Durant gets back to Golden State. I think if there's anything that's going to happen with Durant, I think he ends up going back to Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler's an enigma right now. Who's going to take this guy? This guy sabotaged everything. If I'm a team, I wouldn't trade for him. I wouldn't want to give him any money. What, the second you tell him I'm not giving you an extension, he's not going to play hard the next couple of years. So why would you go trade assets for him? Pat Riley is going to have to give him away for free as you can give a player.
That's $50 million.
You're going to have to find somebody who wants to, maybe Portland, but I don't know. Simons and Grant, Ayton. Maybe if those guys want to get rid of those players just to get from out of their contracts, I'd say for sure Grant. I don't know. I don't know what the hell Miami's going to do with Jimmy Butler. So who else? Who else is left? You're not going to get Giannis. You're not going to get Jokic. Those guys are not going to be. You can't get really anybody that has any kind of flexibility in the money side. You know, the Sexton thing and the Kessler thing. I think from what happened to Danny Ainge, I don't think Danny Ainge is going to want to do anything with the Lakers now. Danny Ainge has to go to sleep now, especially if the Lakers end up winning a championship. He's going to have to go to sleep now knowing that he bridged a Laker dynasty. That right there should give Rob Pelinka free reign forever. We didn't talk about that. We haven't talked about that enough. I'm still trying to figure out how he got left in the dark. I mean, that was as badass a move as you can get in this business. Seriously. Danny Ainge prides himself in being the guy that gets up on you, right? This guy got up on without even knowing. That's how you know you're a G. That's how you know. When you get the guy who's notorious for being that guy, and he gets got, and he didn't even know it. Because they knew if they had told him it would leak. This is brilliant. I am looking forward to that. If they do tell the story, the real story of what happened in those 3.5 weeks, boy, that they could do it. They could do a 5-episode series on that. I would buy that thing. I would buy it just to support the setup. I can get any movie or any TV show I want without having to pay for it. But I bought the box sets to The Sopranos, Entourage, Breaking Bad out of respect. Out of respect for those amazing series. You got to give respect, guys. You got to give respect to those guys that do things that are extraordinary. And all it needs is one title to validate it. Really, in the end, it's just, we would like more, but one validates it.
I do want to mention, though, because the Lakers have been red hot in the past 3 games from 3. I know Robert and both Rodell were talking about it in the chat. I want to say right now, they do make more. They do make about 12.1 to 11.6 from last year. They do make 12 3-pointers a game, which is up from last year, but their percentage is down comparatively last year. Last year they finished in the top 10. I believe that they were 8th, if I'm not mistaken. This year they're about 1.5 percentage down. They're 15th in the Western Conference, or in the NBA, 15th in the NBA in 3-point percentage. So they make more, but they're shooting more. So they're shooting it at a less percentage right now. And Luka is a volume 3-point shooter. He is 35%. So like what LeBron is for the most part. LeBron has been more accurate in the past couple seasons. So we'll see if Luka can get more accurate with his 3-pointers. If he becomes a 38 to 40% 3-point shooter on the volume that he takes, Joe, wow, that will be really something that the doctor ordered.
Well, this is the second game in a row where their shooting was lights out. They almost again shot 50% from 3. They made 19 in the New York's game, and they made 18 tonight. and then they shot 55% from the field. And then, we talk about this all the time. You got to hit your open shots at least 40% to 50% of the time. They're open. They're hitting their open shots. And not only are they hitting their open shots, they're also hitting shots with some kind of avoidance. We're just asking professional basketball players to hit open baskets. If the Lakers can do that, then I don't see how there's going to be an issue in terms of being competitive in every single game that they play, no matter who they play.
I think
they're really executing well, G. I don't
yeah.
know that you just watch them, the way they're moving around. They're not thinking anymore. They know exactly where they're going, how they're doing it. They're adapting to the talent, because New York and LA are two different type of teams. They're not the same team. They both shoot a lot of. Every team shoots a lot of threes, but the Clippers were supposed to be more reliant on the big man down low, right? They have Zubac there, whereas the New York Knicks don't necessarily. Since Hartenstein left, they don't really have anybody down there. It's more small ball type thing. So the way they adapted to both games was, and the way they dominated both games, guys. For those of you who missed the game, the Lakers did not, again, in back-to-back games in New York and in LA, they did not show any sign that they were going to lose any of these games at any point in the 48 minutes that they played in each game. The little runs that they made, they broke it down to 12 in the third quarter, and then boom, all of a sudden Austin Reeves hits a three and then gets a layup right after that. Done. You could see the body drop right after that, and then it really dropped when Vanderbilt hit that three in the corner, and I think he started talking shit to somebody behind him. That was it. I said, if Vanderbilt's going to start hitting threes, you guys are toast tonight.
I'm just going to say something that Rodell pointed out, because he said, if it goes up from 35% to 38%, he thinks that's only one more made three a game. He said that's not really much of a difference. If the Lakers in their current position moved up 3 points a game, given everything else is still the same, Joe, but if they make 3 points more a game, they would be in the Western Conference. They would be right in the fifth place in the Western Conference offensively, as far as is concerned. And that would probably put them in the top 10 overall in the NBA, which they are not offensively right now. Right now, they average 112. So you put them in 115 range. It does make a difference, Rodell. 3 points added on to your overall team, it does make a difference.
Rodell, and I've been trying to avoid this, but this isn't kind of a snide comment, so I'll roll with it. But I'm going to give you some comparisons to this. In baseball, when you look at it from the minute difference, just like you're talking, right? That little 3%. You have a career, you have a possible Hall of Fame career by just getting one extra hit every 10 at-bats. Imagine that. Imagine how small that sounds, but it's so big. Same thing in basketball to a degree, right? When you look at, let's say, field goal percentage. When you look at Kobe's field goal percentage, he retired 44.9% from the field, which is not good. Basically 45%. Jordan retired at 49%. Now, you probably look at that and go, oh, well, it's only 4%. Well, it's an extra shot made pretty much every game. That makes a huge difference when you're in the professional ranks. One extra hit, one extra yard. How many times, Gerald, have we seen games in football where that 1 yard cost the team a game? No bigger yard. I'll use the Rose Bowl as an example. Texas versus USC.
Or the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I think they were at the 2 yard line.
Wasn't the Chargers? Wasn't it the Chargers? Well, 2 yards. Okay, I'll give you. Okay,
I think it was more the 2 yard for.
Yeah, it was a 2 yard. You're right. It was 2 yards.
Seattle and
Seattle.
Patriots. Yeah.
So
look at USC Texas. Lendell White For some reason, Pete Carroll does not have who's the other running back? Jeez, I just went blank. God,
Was Bush.
Reggie Bush. For some reason, he didn't have Reggie Bush in there to at least be a decoy. Just have him run an out and have Lendell go, because somebody would have shadowed Reggie, right?
Yes.
If Lendell gets that yard on fourth down, the game is over. That extra hit in baseball can take you from minor leagues for your whole life to being possibly a Hall of Famer. So that's how close it is. That's how the margin of error. That's why fundamentals, technique, focus. When you get to this level, everything matters. Why did the Lakers play so well tonight? If you recorded the game, watch the game. Look how they were moving. Look where they were. They knew where the ball was. They were focusing on the bouncing from the rim. The Clippers had no preparation for that tonight. I don't believe they thought the Lakers were going to be that in tune tonight after being on the East Coast for what, a week? Never underestimate your opponent, guys, because they come and surprise you. And it was nice. It really was nice. They busted their ass.
Clippers laid an egg. Clippers laid an egg. Yeah.
That they laid an egg, but the Lakers took the egg out of their ass.
I think this trade really had a lot to do with it, Joe. I think this fired this team up, and I really think that they came in there really on a high because of the Luka trade. I really think that it had a Luka effect for at least tonight. I'll leave it at that. But I could see it in the way they play. LeBron had even with the extra day off, Joe, but traveling from East Coast to West Coast, that's still rough for these guys. He just see the lift that he had today, the energy he had today. I think again, as he said in the post game, if he had any concerns, he would have waived his no trade clause and got up out of here. He wants to stay a Laker. It is clear. He abundantly made that clear tonight with his play and with what he said after the game, Joe.
LeBron loves Luka. Guys, there's an interview after they won the championship that fall when they were getting ready to play the next season. It was between the COVID and the new start of the season, right? 2020, yeah, still 2020. He wanted Luka to be the first team LeBron Nike guy, and Luka ended up going Jordan, the Jordan brand. And this is secretly, he's trying to not disrespect AD, which is a good thing. AD, I have nothing against AD. I love AD. I'll always love AD. He's going to get his jersey up in the rafters one day. He's a champion. He won't get a statue. If he had won a couple more championships, he probably would have. But I'm not. Look, if LeBron is going to continue this anomaly, he thinks he can play two, three more years like this. He is not going to go, guys. And he's going to play probably with his best teammate ever. Luka is that guy. And he is going to relieve a lot of pressure. Dwayne Wade is a striker. He's not a controller of a team. LeBron still had to control those teams in Miami, and there wasn't a lot of depth on those teams. So now he's going to have somebody that can really spell him for at least half the game. He's going to be more fresh at the end of games. And on top of that, he doesn't have to worry about the clutch part either. I'm telling you, this thing could work in a crazy way. That's why we're excited. That's why we're going nuts, because the potential of this working is extremely high. And you're already seeing evidence of it. You already saw evidence of it, because if everybody else does their job that they have, and you could just add a couple more pieces, there's a legitimate shot that they can do something here. So yeah, there's no reason not to feel positive about it, even if it ends up being bad. At some point, this thing is going to get figured out because you have the right tools. And I'm talking about even if LeBron decides that, you know what, I think I'm going to retire after 2026 because I just don't want to go through the grind anymore. I've done it for 24 years. I'm done. Hey, the Lakers are in freaking great position next year too to go get help. And even better in 2027, especially if some of the guys that could opt out, opt out. The salary cap's going to go up too, so a lot of these guys are going to make more money. It's going to open up more space for the Lakers too, so they can bring in more guys. The future is very, very bright. The Dodgers and the Lakers are set for the next decade, and we're going to be here for all of it. And I can't wait. I really can't. I'm just very happy about it.
Sports Baby says, guys, what if Luka doesn't take the extension that probably the Lakers will try to offer him in the offseason and wait to go see what offers he can get? Will this be for nothing if he leaves after 2 years?
I don't believe he'll leave. He's already lost $100+ million. The Lakers have his bird rights. They're the team that can offer him the most money. Plus, there was a stat sheet that I saw, or a number sheet, where it says if Luka does a couple of tweaks in his contracts, he could actually end up getting that money back. Less the taxes, obviously, but he can get that money back to where he can end up getting, I think it was what, 430 million, something like that.
Yeah.
Adjusting to the new salary cap. Luka would likely, you can say likely, be able to make up some more of that money with a Laker jersey. I'd like to say, I think, no, I'm not saying like. Look, guys, I've even thought about getting a Luka jersey now. I would have never thought of getting any jersey. This is the first time I've wanted a jersey since Kobe's jersey, black jersey, before the Black Mamba jerseys. I have a black, like a Adidas one when they were with Adidas still. Black, just like the Mamba ones, except it's the Adidas one. That's the last time I've ever wanted a jersey. I want a Luka jersey now. So I am pretty confident that he's gonna make a lot more with his jersey as a Laker versus what he's probably made with Dallas. So he could probably make up some of that tax money he's losing in LA. I'm pretty sure of it. And endorsements.
JY says, as of now, who do you think won the trade as of today, Joe and G? JY, have you not been listening to the past 3 days? I'll just leave it at that. A lot of the ex-players are saying the Mavs won the trade. Again, do you not hear what we've had to say over the past 3 days on who won this trade?
It doesn't matter who thinks who.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter who thinks who won. You have to understand circumstance right now with where the Lakers were. The Lakers were not really moving to where they needed to go with AD and LeBron. It wasn't likely they were going to win a championship again. Even if they were playing well together, there was still something missing with AD and LeBron being the flagships. Not only that, you also switched out a 31, soon to be 32-year-old player for a 25-year-old, soon to be 26 player who actually has better control of the game and has a clutch gene. Just from the age difference, you're getting a player that's 6 years younger. Guys, the average NBA career, I think, is what, 4.5 to 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have possibly the best player. What's up, Danny? How you doing, bud? You're going to possibly have what could be the best player in the NBA at the prime of his prime.
Kurt wants to know if you will talk more about Ainge not knowing he was helping the Lakers when they, about that trade, utilizing them as a third party and then realizing what it was for.
Can you please talk more about Ainge not knowing? So Ainge apparently didn't find out until 30 minutes before the trade went down that he was a part of the bridge to make the contracts work. See, Ainge was so infatuated with those draft picks for nothing and an expiring contract, maybe he wasn't focused on what was really happening. And my guess is because he knew late, he couldn't really do anything about it. Otherwise, he would have been, I don't want to say blackballed or ostracized by all the other GMs or the NBA in general, the culture of the NBA. I don't know. He had to eat it. Could that be a lie? I don't know. Maybe it's a lie. Maybe they embellished it. Maybe he did know and he just said, "Hey, this has nothing to do with me." Maybe, but it sure is sound like a good story. And why would somebody make something up like that? Why would Ainge lower himself? That's not Danny Ainge, guys. Danny Ainge is a very competitive guy. Didn't Danny Ainge get drafted in all 4 leagues? NFL, ABA, NBA, and was it the NHL?
Was he drafted in the NHL?
Yeah, he was a hockey player. I've seen pictures of it. It's a highly competitive guy, guys. Like when you talk about guys that are competitive, he's one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I'm gonna go on the side of a guy that competitive. I don't think he's gonna want to be the bitch in a deal like that. I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know, but
he's got JHS, Joe. He's got JHS. Life is set.
He's got JHS for about 3 months. Good luck.
Yes.
You don't
Good
have
luck.
to deal with him after that. Yeah, it's a great. It's definitely must-see TV. Whatever this was, if there's inside info on what happened and we're able to find out what happened, I would love to see what it was.
J-Bay says, let me ask you guys, if given the choice, would you rather trade Dalton with 2 first-round picks or Christie with just 1 first round?
Christie with
Christie. Yeah, not even. I wouldn't even blink an eye.
Connect has a higher ceiling than Christie in my book, and
yes.
The 1 pick is going to be important right now, especially right now, in case they need it for this summer if they shouldn't do something here by Thursday.
Yeah, well said.
Yes,
very well said.
Christie right now is apparently making me look pretty bad too. Looks like he might be a valuable NBA player.
I think he'll be a rotation. I've always said this, Joe, from the get-go, that he'll be a rotation player in the league for the Lakers or someone else. But once you start depending on him, he's a guy in the playoffs that's going to get really worked on because, again, he's very slight of build. He's not strong, and his shot is inconsistent at this point in time. I don't think his output, his offense has been inconsistent with the Lakers. So hopefully he can find some of that consistency in Dallas that he didn't have as a Laker. So hopefully he'll be able to do that. But yeah, he also has to get a lot stronger. I remember Harrison Barnes just bullying him last time the Spurs played the Lakers, and there's been other players that have bullied him as well. So he needs to get a lot stronger. But then again, he's still young, and he still has a chance to go ahead and develop as well. So.
Yeah, it's quite clear that the Lakers felt the same way, that Connect has a much higher ceiling than Max. Not to downgrade him. It's just I feel that Connect is going to be an integral part of the Lakers in the future, and I would rather not mess with that.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win tonight, 122-97. Absolutely a great victory for the team, capping off a 5-1 road trip. They're 29-19. They are still 5th place in the Western Conference, but their position, as what we said to Joe, what we said before the road trip, before Luka, before all was said and done on that, we said that this team had to go 4-2 and get closer to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th place team. And Joe, they went 5-1 and did just that.
Yeah, they've won 3 in a row. And the Rockets have lost 4 in a row, which means they've made up a considerable amount of ground against them. They're in the same loss column as Denver, 2 games short of the win column, and that's because they had 2 games that were rescheduled due to the LA fires. I'm going to have a better assessment on what's going to happen here when I find out what happens after tomorrow when they play their first 5-on-5 with Luka. if Luka is healthy enough to play at least by Saturday, I feel very good that they can finish 5-1 again in this next 6-game stretch before they face Denver.
I'll just say this, guys out there, because there is a troll out there. If you're a fan from another team, we absolutely respect it and appreciate when you stop on by. We have people from all over. Sports Baby is a great fan of the Indiana Pacers, but he comes here and he's respectful of us in the chat, and our chat is respectful of him. But if you want to just go in here and shout in all caps about this team or that team being better than this team or that team, we're just going to remove all. We're just going to remove all what you're saying before, as soon as you type it up. So all your work that you put in there, it just goes poof right away. So keep at it. Keep wasting your time.
I didn't get a chance to read it.
Oh, he's a Nuggets fan, and that's fine being a Nuggets fan. Absolutely fine being a Nuggets fan. If you think the Nuggets were going to win this time last week, Joe and I said in a series, we still thought the Nuggets had the Lakers number, but with Luka, things quite possibly can change. But again, we'll see. It depends on what the Lakers can do. Getting a center, because Jackson Hayes is still guarding Jokic, still scares, I think, both Joe and I. But yeah, if the Lakers can provide some size for Luka and LeBron, who knows? Who knows, Joe?
Yeah, who knows? I'm not going to worry about it anymore. Lakers brought in a player that you're going to start feeling much different at the end of games. That game is close. How many clutch players are there in the NBA right now, Gerald?
I don't know.
See?
Yeah, that's a lot.
You say there's a lot?
I'd say, what, 20?
20 clutch players?
I don't know how many. I'm just guessing. I'm
talking about legit clutch players. I'm talking someone who scares the bejesus out of everybody when they.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you just taught players in that are represented.
No, not clutch. The damn agency. I'm talking about clutch hitting shots.
Oh, okay. Well, you weren't clear on that, so yeah. There's only a few.
I was very clear.
You said clutch.
No,
when you talk about Lakers clutch and Lakers and clutch,
I was talking about playing the game. Why the hell would I talk about an agency?
We've talked about that agency quite a bit on this show, Joe.
Get your stuff together, buddy.
Get your stuff together. Shut up, Joe. Anyways, to get what you're saying, there are just a few clutch players in this league, and we've already seen LeBron and, of course,
Ali.
Luka.
I don't know. I swear that's what the word is.
And Kurt Ronick, you could have met Clutch Talk, John Costa's channel.
No. When do I ever talk about Clutch Talk or clutch agencies? I was talking about the game. Anyways, Ali, I don't know, man. I don't know how he didn't know. No one knows. No one knows how this happened. This whole thing is unknown, how it happened. Who knew? This is the first time. Dude, the NBA has been around for 77 years. This is the first time an All-NBA player was traded for another All-NBA player in the middle of the season. It's just rare. It's rare as in there is no other rareness. It's one. So for me to not believe anything that's coming out at this point about this, I have to believe it because the deed itself is unbelievable. And that's legit. And that is the most unbelievable part about the stories. It's more unbelievable than the 3.5 weeks of being secret, of Danny Ainge not knowing. It's at that point, I'm just using instincts and common sense and how all this verbiage is put together. There's no other way. I have to believe everything is true. It's what was it? The 30 for 30 with Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson he was like a mythical entity growing up. They talked about how he dunked a stick in 8th grade, and one of the guys that was Klosterman, one of the New England journalist, Klosterman. I forgot his first name. He said it's such a weird story. How do you not believe it? Like, who makes up a story? Well, he dunked the stick. Who makes that up? He dunked the stick because he's a freakish athlete at 14 years old, and there wasn't a ball probably, and he dunked the stick. Why would somebody make something like that up? Why wouldn't he have picked up a rock and dunked it, or gotten a small ball or something, right? Why a stick? So I have a hard time not believing all these stories that came up, because they're so kind of unbelievable that who would make something up like that? For what? To do what with it?
I'll just say this, Jeremy. I bet all of them were there sitting either alongside or behind the bench in regards to Markieff Morris, and also as well Maxi Kleber, who were at the press conference today, and you got to see them hoist up their jerseys along with Luka at the same breath. But the camera focused on Luka. That's all they cared about. So they're not caring about Markieff Morris, and they're not caring about Maxi Kleber one iota. So I have a feeling they were there. If they were not there, they were somewhere close by, Joe. So yeah, I have a feeling that they were there, but nobody actually cares. All they cared about was Luka and LeBron sitting together and enjoying the game, Joe.
Markieff, unfortunately, is done, folks. He wasn't really getting a lot of minutes in Dallas. I don't see him getting any minutes in LA. Kleber is had foot surgery. He's pretty much 99% done for the year. All those guys were just salary connections. That's it. There was no talent needed out of those guys other than their contracts. So don't expect anything from Kleber. Don't expect anything from Markieff. He has the dog mentality, but he doesn't have the physical dog anymore.
No.
He's got
no. Yeah, that day of him coming in like he did on a buyout from, I think it was Detroit, if I remember correctly. He was bought out, came in here. He filled up a starting spot for the Lakers and provided that some admirable service as the Lakers won their championship. It's so funny, Joe, because after the trade for a split second, we had only one player left on that 2020 roster, but we have two once again with Markieff.
Yeah, that was funny. That's funny. I saw that picture. Somebody had the picture with just AD and LeBron, and now you have to switch out AD for Markieff. He's like two players to the right of LeBron in that team picture.
Yep. There you go. Absolutely. But no, great win for the Lakers tonight. Absolutely just enjoyed it. It's nice to have an easy win for once. I think there's an attitude shift. Funny, they were talked about a culture change in Dallas. Could there be a culture change in the Lakers in Los Angeles with this trade, Joe?
Culture change in what?
I don't know. Maybe for the better. Maybe there was something going on with the Lakers that they just felt that they couldn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, or the issues with LeBron and what.
Yeah.
But now Luka coming here might have changed the culture in a much more
100%.
positive fashion.
Yeah,
but the Mavs were saying that one of the reasons why they got rid of it was pointed out by Nico Harrison, was that AD coming in would change the culture in a positive way.
I don't know what AD is going to do over there other than what he's been doing with the Lakers. I don't know if it's going to make a difference in terms of winning a championship. I don't know. AD, the only issues I saw the last few years was he was not good at the end of games, and it made a difference. It made a difference a lot in those Denver series. Him not being able to hit free throws, him not being the guy that you could rely on down low, that was a problem. He didn't have that problem in 2020 And up until he got injured 2021, for some reason, his powers vanquished after 2021. And I don't know if they'll change that much in Dallas. I don't know.
But I'll tell you what, though, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to go ahead and continue. Again, the Lakers do win 122-97. Don't forget, we'll be here tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go ahead right now. I've got scheduled Mike Anguano, who covers the Pistons and the Cavs, talking about they might be doing and his as far as the NBA trade deadline, and of course his thoughts on the Luka trade. Plus, I'm sure Joe and I will preview the NBA trade deadline sometime tomorrow night. And then don't forget, 9 a.m. on Thursday, wake up with us, get a nice cup of coffee, go ahead and get your breakfast and just sit around YouTube, whether it's your phone or whether it's right there at work with us. Go ahead and join us for our NBA trade deadline spectacular coming up at 9 a.m., our annual one we do every year. I'm going to see if I'm going to try to get Laker Tom to join us, because that's always fun for comedy reasons. You know, the year that I don't think you were on, the year that he just blew up at Rob Pelinka when the trade deadline went by and the Lakers did nothing, and he went off for like several minutes on that. He was turning red in the face, and absolutely, I was just worried for the fact that he might drop dead on camera. So yeah, it'll be nice to have him here. If I'm gonna see if I can reach out to him if that's the case. But yeah, anybody of our regular panelists hopefully will be able to stop on by. But I know some will be working, so they won't be able to make it. But yeah, 9 a.m. Thursday. Looking forward to Joe, myself, and see if we can get as many people to stop on by to go ahead and share their thoughts on the NBA trade deadline. Because
Oh,
I'll lose my voice. I'll lose my voice
this is I
by
love when we have 4 hours slated for something like this, because and Saturday night that was one of those unprepared moments that you live for. I mean, it could not have happened at a better moment. You're on there. You're already happy about. LA has absolutely owned New York, by the way. LA has owned New York for the last 4 months. They have beaten their ass in every way, whether it was Brooklyn, whether it was the Knicks, whether it was the Yankees, whether it's the Mets. I mean, LA has owned. New York should just loan the Statue of Liberty to LA for right now. That's how much they've owned them the last 4 or 5 months. So we're happy about that, especially without AD playing, right? And then I keep hearing Mark's voice and him kind of going, oh, like,
he noticed it in the chat first.
Breaking news. And I'm like, okay. I think I remember my head was down most of the time. I didn't really. And then you, after about 20 seconds, went, oh, Luka, this, and that. No.
And I put it up.
Yeah, but first you kind of like got surprised, like maybe this is true. And I go, what? And then you're like, oh, no, maybe it's not. And then I'm sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally, as soon as John got on and he said McMenamin retweeted it, I was like, oh, shit. This might be true.
Bobby Marks retweeted for me and said it's not a hoax. And that's, I'm like, oh, wow.
As soon as John said McMenamin had it, and then 8 minutes went by and there was no one taking it down, I'm like, dude, I think this is real. And then that's when I started going into shock. And then
you can actually see it right now.
Yeah, I remember. I saw it. I think that night. I went back and looked. I was like, wow.
But they can see it.
I remember Mark kept doing this.
Yes, he kept going. And he broke his thumb after the show because he was so thrilled about Luka. He broke his thumb. He almost got kicked out of his place because his neighbors were complaining about him.
Join the club, Mark. I got the calls. Cops called on me when I went nuts after .4.
I've had hotel security knock on my door when I did a mobile show from the road. I think it was from a hotel room. And the hotel security heard, the complaints because this was when you did a rant on when AD They played in Memphis the day before. Then they sat AD down, and you were so pissed off that they sat AD down in Houston. You went off on one of your biggest rants ever, and it was so loud that the hotel security knocked on my door for me. And everything all right, sir? Yeah, it's just my friend, just my friend. He's on the internet. It's okay. It's okay. There you go. Uh,
Oh
but you know
man,
what? It's just great to have you here. Yes,
I gotta
Xbox
find
says
that. I haven't seen that.
by the way, well, yeah, that's like way back. It's like it was like a road game at Houston like 2 seasons ago. Now, so yeah, if you want to check it out. But I will say this again: if you want to check out our reactions to the Luka trade in a 10-minute format, I made a 10-minute video of it. It's available on the Lakers Fast Break YouTube channel. Go ahead and you can check it out. It's right there for you. Again, I've had people like my daughter, she's seen it 3 or 4 times already because she just thought it was so funny to see our reactions. Yes. And of course, Kurt says, I haven't seen Joe that excited since being on Jeff's channel to talk the Dodgers when they won the series.
That
Yeah,
was a
absolutely.
great
But
night, man. That was a
this
great
was,
night.
this was, but this was better, Kurt, because the fact is, he went silent. He went stone silent. That was the thing. I've never heard Joe at a loss for words. And that's the first time and probably the only time I'll hear him at a loss for words right there.
I couldn't think. I couldn't think for 2 hours.
That's
I
funny.
couldn't think after we got off the show. My brain just was not. I couldn't even form words. It was completely shut down from. It almost felt like imagine you've studied something your whole life, and then somebody comes and tells you everything you've studied was wrong. And you're
So
like,
wait,
what?
wait.
What
Let
are
me
they?
ask you this. Let me ask you this, Joe. And I got this is for Kurt. Let me ask you this, Joe. Did the Lakers actually trade for Luka? No, no. That's come on. That's crazy that the Lakers actually trade. That's as crazy as John Malkovich being in a Marvel movie. Oh wait, he is. That must mean Luka is a Laker after all. Wow. Hell has frozen over. Luka is a Laker. John Malkovich is going to be in a Marvel movie. Man, things are changing up here right there. So yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to go ahead and check that out. Yes, I'm referencing the Fantastic Four trailer, everyone.
Of
If you
course,
haven't
Malkovich is going to be in a Marvel movie. There's no
he
jobs anymore. Those are the only jobs left for all these actors.
he was doing a lot of low end, low cost stuff. But yeah, he
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
call.
because he's a thespian, but those
But he
Marvel
would have
movies
never the Malkovich of the '90s would have never
because
gone into a
because there was because they made movies in the 90s. They're not making shit right now. Actually, they're
okay.
making shit. Marvel movies pay better.
Okay.
That's the reason why they're doing it. That's why you're seeing a lot of guys doing commercials now. You never used to see movie stars, A-list movie stars doing commercials in America.
Yeah, but if they're paying $8 million for a 30-second
They weren't doing
spot
it
at
even
the
then.
Super Bowl,
Even then, they were doing overseas stuff for $8 million because they didn't. They knew that because the audience used to look at movie stars in a different light. The marketing was different for movie stars. When they saw you on TV, it was okay if you went from TV to movies, but if you went from movies to TV, it was a downgrade. Your brand hit a snag. Commercials were even worse.
yeah. Well, Nicolas Cage, when he got into the trouble with the IRS, he started just
So Nicolas
selling
Cage,
himself to.
there's always the exceptions to the rule. Nicolas Cage has such a eclectic following, and I'm one of those guys. Nicolas Cage is an absolute riot. One of the best unhinged actors I've ever seen. Him and Charlie Sheen are the best when they're unhinged in a movie. They are freaking hilarious.
Oh my gosh, they're unhinged when they were drunk coming to my go kart. Yeah, with both of them, him and Charlie Sheen. They had an. I told you the story. They had the entourage that came
Yeah.
late at night. They were already like they probably had already consumed quite a few of the drugs and alcoholism that they admitted to later in life. And yeah, they came and they just tried to commandeer it. And I was shouting at all of them, the entire group, including them, about, because they rented out the go kart track that night, and I was running it, and I'm just like yelling at all of them. You know what? You cannot go the wrong way. They're just trying to go all over the place. I just like I was yelling at all of it. And this was kind of good, because like at the end of the day, I'm driving home, like, you just yelled at Nicolas Cage and Charlie Sheen to turn the F around and get the go kart going in the right direction. So I thought that was
Grown
pretty
ass
funny.
men getting yelled at by grown ass men.
Yeah. Well, I was like a 20-year-old kid at the time. So I was just like, I didn't know any better. I was just like, okay, these guys are not going the right way. I'm going to make them go around the right way. They finally did. So it's like, oh, this guy means business. But there we go. But yeah, good times. But
Yeah,
yes, it is, of course, the Fantastic Four trailer, something I'll be talking about in upcoming Pop Culture Cosmos. But for now, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. Want to thank you so much for watching and listening. Yes, Jeremy, that is a true story. It was the in Gardena, California. It was the Ascot Slick Track. Those that are familiar with the Southern California area, there was a dirt track for sprint car races called Ascot, which was, I think, owned by the Agajanians, if I remember correctly. And then they also owned a go kart track on the side, and I was running that outside for them. So yeah, absolutely. So yep, yeah. And they rented it one night. We would have rentals at the end of our after hours type deal. It's also funny. It was also cool because yeah, those were the days where after the go-kart track closed, we would like run for hours at night in the cold when it was like really the best time to run them, because in the cold air they would run even faster, and they would stick to the track even faster. And then the cops would get us like 2 o'clock in the morning. What the hell are you guys doing? They come over. And then 10 minutes later, they're driving with me and I'm racing with the cops in the go-karts. So there you go. Sports Movie says, thanks for Gerald. Thanks for everyone that joined us tonight. Yeah, again, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, I'll be on with Mike Anguilano, and Joe and I will preview the NBA trade deadline tomorrow night. And then, of course, have a special tomorrow. But, Joe, big win for the Lakers. Big win for the Lakers in the trade market. Still work to do for Rob Pelinka. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
yeah. If he can pull just one more rabbit out of his hat and somehow get a center that's just someone that is viable, just
I still
one,
like that Isaac deal. I still like the Isaac deal along with Batazzi.
just
That's a front line.
one more viable big without
Mm-hmm.
depleting the depth, and let's see if the Lakers can make a little run here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to be greedy here, but I gotta be. I want to see if this team has, because there's no clear cut winner this year. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see, and I want to see what the Lakers are going to have. This was their 48th game, so the Lakers are 34 games. Well, it's going to be technically 33 if he gets back for Utah. 32. I mean, Indiana. 32 if he plays uh, in the Utah game. So one way or the other, I think it's going to be either the 33 or 32 games where this team can get itself figured out as a team, chemistry wise and organizational wise. And man, if they could just play enough defense to where you can let LeBron and Luka cook.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I want to see that. I want to see it. No one thought Dallas would go to the finals last year, right?
Yep.
No one thought that. And I'm telling you guys right now, if LeBron had been on that team, the Dallas team, instead of Kyrie, I really believe Dallas would have beat Boston. So if the Lakers can somehow mimic what Dallas did last year, I trust LeBron and Luka in those close games more than I trust Kyrie and Luka.
And it's so funny because to cap on everything tonight, Joe, that troll went over to Facebook, worked so hard to put everything in caps again and shout his messages of hate towards the Lakers and love towards the Nuggets. I deleted those comments too. I see everything everywhere on the Lakers fast break, Timothy. Sorry.
I didn't see it. I haven't seen any of
Oh
his
no, it
messages.
was on Facebook. Yeah. I deleted it instantly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is about.
That's just a waste of his time. He went to all that effort and to see it just
I'm not gonna front. I do some shit talking on certain posts on on social media, but
Mhm.
I don't deliberately go onto a podcast and yap. Like, what is that? I'll say some things, but I rarely will get into a nonsensical rant about what's that gonna do? Why would you come to a Laker channel to yap about your team? Why? What does that do?
As Kurt says, that troll was probably a drunk Charlie Sheen, still upset that Gerald yelled at him about go karts.
I think Charlie Sheen drunk is still more viable than the normal troll that just goes around saying what's gonna happen when they don't know shit about what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's the Yankee fans. There's a really good clip of Yankee fans. You're in New York now. You ain't gonna do what you do in New York. When they were playing the World Series, I'm like, dude, the Dodgers are up 2-0 coming into New York. You should have been scared out of your ass. The only game you won was when our Triple A pitchers were pitching in Game 4, and that game was close up until the 6th and 7th innings. How do you feel now? How do you feel now? Come on, man. If you're gonna be wrong, at least be wrong with some material, not just yapping.
Oh, no, Nuggets, so far. No, no, no.
Lakers suck. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Jokic is better than LeBron. Okay. Great. Thank you. Now what? Where do we go from here, folks? Where in your life are you going to go next? And what does
Oh,
that do
Jeremy,
for
they're
you?
always out there. They're always
What does
trolls
that
out
do for you? Seriously, what does that do for you? I want to know. I really do want to know. Like, what happens in your mind? Hey, huh, Lakers suck. They're going to lose. Okay, good, good. I'm glad I know that now. I'm
there. And
glad.
to
And
see all
guess
of his
what?
hard
And
work
let's give that person
destroying the caps
a
lock.
positiveness in this assessment. Let's say the Lakers do lose. Now what? You're gonna take that to if you go to school. You're gonna take it to work. Are you gonna go tell your friends at school or tell your coworkers, "Hey, I went on this random Laker podcast and I said that the Lakers were gonna lose, and they did." They're gonna look at you like you're nuts.
I'll tell you what.
They're
You know
gonna go
what?
get coffee. They're gonna go play with their friends at
If
recess. What?
if you're that confident to do it and you're destroyed your caps lock button, put your money where your mouth is. Go to Vegas or go to one of the many apps on your phone, spend $100, $200, $300 and bet it there. Why are you wasting your time with us?
Not everything has to have a meaning, but
Yeah.
you also have to understand what's the purpose of
What is the
everything you
purpose?
do. Like, really, if I'm going to rant on something, I'm ranting to release the negativity out of my head or something, right? Or if it's something positive. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset at a player, it's because the player stunk in the game. There's a reason. There's purpose in that. What is the purpose of doing what you just did, whoever you are? There's no purpose. There is no purpose. So we cheer for teams. They win, they lose. Sports is entertainment. Movies are entertainment. You know, we get emotional and all that, and yeah, there's it doesn't mean anything in the end. But the purpose is the euphoria of when you win. sports in general, right? Sports, when you win the World Series, all those years, all those games that they lost before that killed you, the reward is that going through all that headache. Movies.
It's so funny because what they didn't know, Joe, is who did you pick to win the NBA Finals this season?
Denver.
And up until last week, who did we think would win a series? Because we get asked that a lot about Denver and LA. Who did we think under the format between when AD and LeBron, under their current format that they had leading up to Saturday, who did we think would win in a series?
Denver.
So you're trolling the wrong place, because up until Saturday we agreed with you. Now it's anyone's ball game. And
my buddy just sent me a video on WhatsApp, a video of Luka doing clutch gene things. Folks, you have no idea. If you're not an avid basketball watcher, let's say you're just a Laker fan, and that happens. I have friends that don't really watch other games, and I'm sorry to say that a lot of my outside Laker watching games has kind of been downgraded a little bit. My time has been, away from it, but I'm trying to get back to it. But I know who Luka Doncic is, guys. Most people who watch NBA basketball know who this guy is. This guy is bringing something that this team has not had since Kobe Bryant. Even LeBron James doesn't have it. This guy is going to scare the shit out of teams. Denver, Minnesota, Boston, everyone. He's that scary. And the Nuggets had 7 years to put together a team for this guy to win it consistently. And they didn't. He had to carry them last year. The Lakers won't make that mistake. They made a horrible mistake with the Westbrook trade, something that I had never seen them make ever. And they made up for it now with Luka. And I truly believe that they're going to stack this team for him to win in a way where that you've never seen him have in Dallas, and probably would have never seen it. Because they will pay more. They will pay the money. Jeannie looks like she just proved that she is thinking like her dad. She doesn't care about paying Luka $400 million in a couple of years. Should he rework his contract in a way where it aligns with that particular extension? And he's gonna get talent around him, and they're gonna build around it. You know how I know? Because I saw it twice, guys. I saw it twice, and I saw a little bit of it with LeBron and AD until they panicked. And I know that they're not going to panic this time. And this time you have Luka in his prime, just like Shaq in his prime. It's going to be a run. It's going to be they had an 8-year run with Shaq, won 3 championships with the 4 finals. So half the time they spent in the finals, won 3 championships. Kobe, Gasol, unfortunately, we got Kobe at the beginning of kind of I'd say the last year of his prime was 2010, because his knee was just not there. A lot of wear and tear, after 15 years. Had we got Pau Gasol, let's say in 05, you would have seen the Lakers compete from 05 through 2010. Probably would have won 4 championships in that time, because Kobe between 2003 and 2009 was unstoppable. So yeah, again, last thing is get on the ride, guys. Get on this ride, regardless of what happens on Thursday. Enjoy it, because it's going to be a ride that's going to be here for a while. Again, barring any major injuries, this is going to be a really, really fun 10 years, at least 10 years. It's just crazy to say that, by the way, just crazy.
Yep. And let's hope that that's going to be the case. And all signs will be pointing to that, and that the Lakers can find.
Luka brought me out to get a jersey, guys. I'm gonna get that jersey.
Hell has frozen over.
It has, and and we'll see what happens with LeBron, guys. If LeBron wants to be Tom Brady, play till he's 45, and they're winning, they win a championship. Let's say next year. Woo! That's only gonna add the argument in his favor even more if that happens. So very, very great. It's been a great evening. It's been a great few days, and I'm looking forward to having every day that we do this show and every day we're talking about the Lakers be the same way it is right now. It really feels good to be in this light. It really does, and I'm glad that y'all are noticing it. And you're all here because I've had a blast the last few days talking to everybody too.
Absolutely. We've had over 5,000 views, closing in on 7,500 views since the trade has happened.
Luka's jersey.
Yeah, I know. I was telling with the youth Luka.
Yeah,
We were just
I'm gonna get the
debating.
Luka. Except I'm gonna get the black the Mamba Luka jersey. I might have to get it special made.
JY says, why didn't Jimmy get the Luka treatment and get traded in the middle of the night? Joe and G. Well, first up, he made everything. Him and Riley with their press conferences at the end of last season started. You could tell because the Miami Heat did not offer him an extension at that time. It was already going sideways. If you check the roll back the tape to the press conferences at the end of the season for the Miami Heat, and then leading in, you saw it was just getting worse and worse with the public comments that they made after each other. And then Jimmy, he's not a very he's not a very private. He's driven by his anger. Check out his time in Milwaukee in Minnesota, excuse me. Check out his time in Philadelphia. Check out his time in Chicago. He has burned a lot of bridges and he thinks he can get his way at every time. But the problem is he's now a 35-year-old player who doesn't play well traditionally in the regular season, who always tries to put his chips in because he's been in the past an outstanding playoff performer. The problem is he's now 35 years old. You start to see some slippage. And the last time he was in the playoff, you saw he didn't perform quite as well. So again, Miami wasn't committing to that beyond his current contract deal. So with that, that $51 million, that's a lot of cash, Joe. Didn't try to turn that around. And if Beal doesn't want to play ball somewhere else, you got a big problem.
Someone mentioned that this deal with Luka and AD kind of shifted the power. And what did we talk about during the year about how the players have been just running game on everyone, including Adam Silver? Looks like there might be a shift here, guys. I think there might have been a shift. Think about this for a second, man. You're talking about in my view, the best two-way player, the best two-way big for sure in Anthony Davis, and you have potentially the best player in the NBA here in the next half decade at the very least, get traded for each other without them knowing and without them having any power. And it cost Luka $115 million. He bought a home last week for $15 million. So now you got to continue this, Pat, and the NBA owners and GMs need to say, Jimmy, you're stuck. You're stuck in Miami, or Pat Riley's going to send you to Charlotte. Charlotte will give up a few draft picks. They'll take on Jimmy for maybe a few more extra attendance tickets. But you ain't going to get what you want, buddy. You ain't going to Phoenix because Bradley Beal ain't going to let it go. He ain't going to go, I'm not going to do this to go to Miami and do what? I'm happy in Phoenix, right? You don't want to go to Golden State? You think you're that big where you don't want to go to Golden State? That would have been a perfect spot for him, by the way. They really need him over there when he can play. But at this time, the general managers and the owners of the NBA need to help out Pat Riley. If there's anybody that deserves that, of course it's Pat Riley. That's the icon of the NBA. That's a guy that's been in this thing for 60 years. You help Pat Riley make sure that Jimmy Butler understands that your dumbass makes $50 million a year and all this bitching and whining will not be tolerated. Get your money now and then get your money next year, and then you can go do whatever the hell you want after that. We're not going to give you shit. We're not going to give you what you want.
Jeremy, I honestly think that Pat Riley's going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck with each other after the trade deadline. Because that's a pricey contract to move for a 35-year-old player who still has an option year of $51 million. Plus, I think it's 45, 47 for this year, but he has a $51 million option. Plus, his desired destination is being held up by Bradley Beal and his no trade clause. If I'm Bradley Beal, I don't want to go somewhere. I'm going to invoke my no trade clause, and there you go. He turned down Golden State because Brian Windhorst reported that Golden State was making an offer for him, and they didn't. And I guess was Butler did not want to sign an extension with them, so we're at where we're at. Yeah, sports baby. Luka has passed his medical. He is officially a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes. Yes, they did take the medicals, I think, on Monday. He did take the medicals on Monday. Yes, he does have the issue with the calf strain, but he is close to coming back. We do know about Maxi Kleber and the broken bone in his foot. Whether or not he is traded, that's something that I'm sure that's a real rabbit out of the hat if Rob can get that, off our books. But because he still has another year around 11 million, and I've seen Maxi Kleber, I think, has had better days, but I'm hoping I'm wrong on that. But everybody I talked to, as far as the Mavs have reached out that I've spoken to, yeah, Maxi Kleber days I think are numbered in the NBA. But yeah, I think that right now, Luka, it's all about Luka, and the excitement is in LA. You saw it tonight, even at the Clippers in the Intuit Dome, how people were excited for the Lakers, for Luka, and this is only going to get better and better. Yeah. Yeah, sports baby, but I think the deal was that's because there's only a $2 million difference between Gafford and Kleber. But sports baby, I think the deal was contingent on the Lakers choking on Max Kleber's salary. I think Dallas wanted to dump Max Kleber and add him in there. So that was the bad salary that the Lakers had to take in order to get Luka. And Joe, I would do that every single time.
I'd take 3 Klebers if it meant getting Luka.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's more than fair. It's more than fair in every way. This was as fair a deal as you could get. Matter of fact, I think the Lakers fleeced them.
Oh, I know they fleeced them. Absolutely.
1 first-round pick. You saw the list yesterday with Gobert, with
Mitchell,
Donovan Mitchell going to Cleveland.
And Paul George. Was it Paul George? Yeah.
Paul George was the worst one, actually. I thought Gobert was bad. The Paul George one was worse.
The Paul George, I think, is worse trade than the Luka fleecing. Yes.
It's worse because they gave up a perennial MVP to win nothing. Kawhi Leonard.
Draft picks through the rest of the decade.
Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers sabotaged them. He destroyed the Clippers by going there. That's the crazy thing when you look back on it. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable how that turned out. All he had to do was come to the Lakers. He would have won 2 more championships, at least, probably 3, and wouldn't have had to worry about exerting himself so much, and would have been part of He would have been part of a big three that would have been legendary.
Ali, I just explained that Kleber came as baggage. That was the deal. Rob had to make a concession. Okay, you're giving me that bad contract, 1 first-round pick, not 2. Because if you read the reports, they also said that Connect may have been involved in the negotiations. 2 first-round draft picks were, discussed. If you're going to give me Kleber and his broken bone in his foot, and the fact that he's probably seen better days because he's also in his 30s and he looks like he just does not look. He's very injury prone. Kleber is, and I don't know how much more he could be effective for you at this point in his career. So Dallas was in the deal to just get rid of him at this point. So yeah, if you have to choke on that in order to get Luka, Ali, you have to do it every time. Yeah, it's just part of. Yeah, they couldn't get Gafford because that would have been too sweet of a deal.
You know what? You know what the mystery is right now? The biggest mystery in this is I want to find out why. Why is it that they're interviewing Kyrie Irving and he's calling Luka his hermano? DFS and him are boys. And he hated when he got traded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have Markieff Morris being interviewed today saying Luka is low maintenance. How if it was one guy, okay, I'll say that. 2, 3 already. What exactly is wrong with Luka in Dallas? Why are the reports of him in Dallas from their management bad, but all the players love him?
I just wanted to put in Kleber's exactly, Joe. No, I agree with you on that.
So what is that? That to me is that's the question I have. That's what I don't know. It does those things don't compute. What is it about the Mavericks management? This is even before everything went to the Adelsons. There was something going on, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to know. All the players love him, so he's not a cancer. So what is it? Just management not liking Luka? They got rid of he was quoted saying that they got rid of everyone he liked. Why would they treat the star player like that? Like for what? What is he doing? I want to know. And Kyrie, Kyrie is one of those guys you can get a good gauge on, man. You can get a pretty good gauge on him. He's not one of those company line guys. He's going to tell you the truth. I believe those guys more than I believe most people, despite their
But
views, all that. I get sometimes you're not aligned with certain people's views, but nothing makes sense if the players love him and people are supporting him from the player standpoint, and then the management doesn't like him. What the hell's going on then? What are they upset about him with him about? It's your fault that you don't. It's your job as a team to make sure that this guy is happy. He is your icon. He is your iconic player that everyone comes. The highest attendance in the NBA is in Dallas. Just, I really want to know. That's the question of the night.
before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and show Thameless. Yeah, I know because you said that you think he would be a good pickup and a nice player. He is 33 years old, but you can see, Joe, since 2021 or 2020, 2021, 50 games, 59, 37, 43, 34. That's why the Dallas Mavericks wanted to get rid of him right there. And you see his percentage fell off from 41 to 32, 34, 34, and 26. That was the thing that was keeping him in the league, Joe, when he first started, was that he was able to stretch the floor. He hit that clutch 3 against the Lakers. But yeah, he is nowhere near the player he once was. Maybe he still got something left in him. I don't know. But if you look at why Dallas traded him instead of Gafford, that they stuck this on the Lakers, that's why right there. Those past 6 seasons right there. Or 5 seasons right there. So again, 10 times out of 10, I would take the deal. Yeah, Damos. Yeah, you gotta look at the whole perspective and why that is. The Maxi Kleber of 5 years ago was very intriguing. The Maxi Kleber of 5 years later, not so intriguing. But again, if Rob can absolutely do some cap gymnastics and get him out of here, get something back for it, or even if he doesn't, just again, there you go. You have a player right there who just can't stay healthy at this point in his career, and that's probably not very good to keep him out there. But next year he'll have an $11 million expiring. So even if the Lakers are stuck with him this season, he'll have an expiring of $11 million coming off the books after next season.
Now, can they trade him in a package once the season's over,
No,
or is
not
it
once the season's over, but not now.
not
Now
right
it's
now?
just
Right.
as
So
yeah.
can you attach draft picks too?
I thought they couldn't draft. Yeah, I thought you couldn't
So he's
attach
got to be a
anything
one
to
for
it.
one.
Yeah,
Who the hell's going to trade for him then?
probably that's why you're probably stuck with him.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that. It's essentially a.
I could be wrong on the draft picks, but from I've
I
heard
think you're
on
right,
more than
though. I
one.
think you're right. I
Yeah,
think the attachments, but we'll find out here in a couple of days. It's essentially an expiring contract. It's only a year and 3 months that's left on his contract. He's only making $11 million, and then Markeith is done after this year. So they didn't even get saddled with any bad contracts, really.
no. The Lakers can actually waive Markeith after the trade deadline, so
Yeah.
they want the roster spot for someone else.
Right.
But again, that's not the big part. The big part is Luka is now a Laker, and hopefully in the next 48 or so hours ish, we'll have a better understanding what this Laker team stands. Hopefully, the Lakers will have made some moves or a move to try and shore up some of the weaknesses that they have, and we'll be looking forward to it. Either which way, I think that it's going to be a little bit more interesting than what we thought. At least I'm hoping it will be a more interesting NBA trade deadline than what we thought it would be.
Oh, it's going to be. There's going to be stuff moving. I have a pretty good feeling that something's going to happen with Durant, and it makes a lot of sense for him to go back to Golden State.
BTS, we still can't get Ben Simmons on a buyout. He again, since we're in the tax, we cannot get players on buyouts that are more than $15 million. I just want to let you know that early that season. So he probably will be waived after the trade deadline so that the Brooklyn Nets can keep the 30 some odd million plus on the books, so that'll come off their books at the end of the season. But he will only probably be able to go to teams that are under the tax, like the Clippers are right now, for instance. So yeah, that's something the Lakers won't have to worry about. They will not be getting into the Ben Simmons drama unless they've signed him as a free agent next season. So yeah, it doesn't matter, BTS. We can't get Ben Simmons this season unless they trade something. And would you trade $40 million in salaries back to Brooklyn to get him? So.
Now, the season's more than halfway through. Do the contracts have to match for what the contract was for the year or what's left?
Mm-hmm. I think it's what's for the year.
I mean, I know it all comes out the same because
it's proportioned. They give it to
right.
them both. They don't do it on a weekly or biweekly basis, like
But
all of us.
let's say there's $11 million left on. I don't know. Let's say I'm just going to use a name here. I'm not saying this is correct. I'm just saying like Jeremy Grant. He's got 11 million left for him to get paid between now and the end of the year.
But then you would also percentage-wise do it for everybody else.
Can you
whatever?
Okay, so yeah. So it's the same thing.
You'd have to proportion it to everyone else.
Yeah. It's the same.
You can't all say, "Oh yeah, you're equal to Austin." All of a sudden, no, you can't. It has to be.
Yeah.
So it's easier if you did it from what they start at. That's why the NBA trade deadline machine and ESPN just still calculates it out by what they are earning over the course of the entire season, because it just makes more.
I would never pick up someone like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is a quitter. I don't want any quitters on this team.
I wouldn't offer him an MLE, a minimum, and see what it goes from there. But yeah, he's not the same player he once was, Stainless.
Yeah,
definitely not. So, all right, my friend, Gerald. I thought you said Ben would not go anywhere else. It will stay in Brooklyn. I said his salary will stay in Brooklyn, Ali. He can be waived. And if he's waived and picked up by another team for the minimum, they'll sign him for, I think, $1 million or $2 million. And you just proportion that. $38 million, if Brooklyn accepts it, will still come off the books for them. So they want the contract. They don't care about the player at this point. It's about the contract. So they may very well, after the trade deadline, waive Ben Simmons, but they still have the $40 million, Joe, outstanding. That comes off the books this summer. So if that's the case, the only thing you can do is, let's say he signs for a $1 million deal with the Clippers, because they're under the cap and they could legally sign someone like him. That $1 million is taken off of what he would have earned with Brooklyn. So Brooklyn would still have $39 million coming off their books. So I said, Ali, I'm sorry that you misinterpreted the wrong way. Ben Simmons' contract will be staying in Brooklyn. Ben Simmons may not. And Thameless Moses Brown has actually had his chance with the Lakers. Remember, he was on the Summer League team. I saw him in action here. He's bounced around the league. He's had several opportunities with teams. He's never been able to stick. He did not perform well at the Lakers Summer League. Yeah, I understand you can't teach 7-2, but if he's not talented enough to stay in the league, even at 7-2, they're not going to play him. He's just going to say, remember Mo Bamba? He came here. Everybody, Laker Tom was giddy and he was doing backflips over him, because that was his greatest center, Lakers center of all time, of the day at that point in time. And we saw how well Mo Bamba did not do well first. Right now, Mo Bamba is looking for a job because he just got waived by Utah after being traded from the Clippers. So could be back in the Mo Bamba business again. But yeah, he couldn't even keep his spot on the Clippers. So yeah. And remember, again, Ali, yes, it's not the individual in Ben Simmons' case. It's the contract is what's most important to Brooklyn right now. That's what's coming off the books. All right.
Ideal center. That's a good question, Jay.
Oh, the ideal center is Nikola Jokic for me, but again, that's.
Well, I'm talking about realistic. I'm assuming that's what you meant.
I'm still into the Orlando package that I drew up last night. That I thought was really, if you could do that, I thought that's worth the price of what we do. That helps your defense.
I think realistically, someone that could be had at this point. Let's say Rob calls Pritchard in Indiana and says, "Look, bro, I'm sorry about what happened last time. Would you take a first-round pick for Laker Tom's favorite player of all time?" Miles Turner is on an expiring contract. He's only at 20 mil, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to send 20 mil there, but now you're going to eliminate more. You're going to eliminate a little bit of your depth from that. Who would you send over there, though?
No.
Would they take?
Do they need Austin Reeves when you have Halliburton there?
I wouldn't do Austin Reeves. No.
Well, that's who they'd ask for.
No. They're getting a first-round pick.
Well,
I'm not giving them talent too.
Well, now that first-round pick just devalued a little bit because Luka. You got to remember that first round pick was extremely valuable because that was post LeBron AD. That first round pick ain't looking so as good as it once was, Joe. Remember, you said 10 years of Luka. That covers 2031. And by the way, Thameless, yes, but we gain defense. We do give up a lot. But in my package I put out there last night, you get 2 big defenders, you get rebounders, you get block shots, plus you get Cole Anthony coming off the bench that can score, and maybe you can resurrect Gary Harris into the 3-point shooter that he once was.
You would have to include another team maybe to get that deal done.
I actually didn't. It worked out perfectly.
No, I'm talking about the Indiana deal.
Oh yeah, Indiana. Okay, yeah. But that first round pick is not as desirable as it once was.
So, first round pick, third team involved, make the salaries work out, and the Lakers get Miles Turner.
Ali Tristan Kardashian is in Cleveland, and he's been there for 2 seasons. And I do not want to go through that again.
What do you think, Miles Turner? Miles Turner with this team, do you think it would work?
Yeah, but he's not a great rebounder, Joe. He's not a great rebounder. That's the one deficiency in his game is his rebounding. He blocks shots, of course, absolutely. Your rim protection is dramatically improved. He stretches the floor to 3. When he's hot, he's really absolutely
Well, you have to understand too. You're going to have Luka that can average 8 to 10 rebounds a game too now, right?
Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about underneath because, but the offensive rebounding will still be an issue, Joe.
Yeah, you've seen them play small here this last weekend. They haven't had a problem rebounding because they're crashing the boards. Ayton, oof. Oh man,
You're going back and forth.
I got a lot of. We're getting a lot of flack on that one, but honestly, he makes $4 million though. You'd have to give up a pretty good amount of talent for him. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have the job. I'm going to wait till Thursday to make an assessment. I don't want to think about
10 offensive rebounds for the Clippers tonight, just to let you know. So, by the way, somebody tell Portland they need to tank because they keep on winning, Joe. They beat Sports Babies Pacers tonight. They keep on winning. That's hilarious. Scoot is balling out.
It's time, I think.
Simons has got to be traded. Yeah,
we're gonna be here, folks. The next couple days, we'll see. We'll see what Rob can cook up. Maybe if he could just get one serviceable big some way on this team where he doesn't deplete the depth, and let's rock and roll. Let's see what this team can do.
I'm sorry, Sports Me. I didn't mean to hurt you on that, but yeah, somebody tell Portland to stop winning, man. That's crazy. You're trying to keep Billups' job or something, Joe?
Maybe they're just clicking finally.
Finally, yeah. Better late than never. But I would still be a massive seller if I was Portland at the trade deadline. I'll just say that. Yeah.
I don't know. These days, with the way the lottery is, I don't know if it's good or not anymore. They might still get the pick. They might still get the pick. They're going to be in the lottery regardless, but they might win the lottery just playing the way they are.
Good point. Thameless Scoot, I hope will see his true potential. It helps me out financially as well because I still have that ticket. I might be one of the few that have the ticket to that game with him and Wembanyama. So keeping my fingers crossed. Him and Koulibaly. If Koulibaly also pops. Yeah, there you go. All right, Joe. I think it's been a great 2 hours, 45 minutes. Man, we rocked it out of the park today. Lakers do win 122-97. Again, I'll be on at 3 p.m. Pacific if all goes well. I got Mike Anguilano coming on, covering the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers for more NBA observations. Joe and I will be back late tomorrow night to discuss preview or any trades. But if there is a Lakers trade, we'll interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin of some type and go live on the air if it happens. Thameless Markel folks. I'm going to say about this Markel folks. Markel folks has been out of the league all season, Joe. The message has been clear. Nobody seems to want Markel Fultz, Thameless. It's just that simple. If he's been out that long and been available that long, it's clear nobody seems to be interested in Fultz. No matter how fast he is, if he can't shoot straight, that's really not going to be able to help his game. So. All right. Any last thoughts, man?
No, I'm good. I think I've said everything.
Yeah, exactly. We got more to say in the upcoming days because the trade deadline is near. Remember, we've got that special coming at you on Thursday morning. I've also got NBA observations later today. And I also, hopefully, we will have a NBA trade deadline preview later tonight. All this good stuff. Lakers got Luka. Can they get more? We'll find out. And we'll bring it to you right here. As the Lakers win tonight against the Clippers, always icing on the cake for us. A cake that's now a Luka cake, indeed, from all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.